YouTube commentary is one of the most popular forms of content on the platform. This style of video involves a creator giving their opinions on a variety of different topics or subjects. Some people take a more analytical approach while others take a more comedic route. One of the pioneers for the commentary genre is named iDubbbz.
This is what a normal human skull looks like. This is what Leafy's skull looks like. Yeah, something like that. I'm gay. Hey, that's pretty good. Are we serving breakfast all day? Let's peep this out.
iDubbbz was once one of the most popular YouTube commentators on the platform. His channel currently boasts over 6.8 million subscribers, and his videos have collected a combined 1.2 billion views. Some of his older videos in his Bad Unboxing series have reached over 10 million views, and he has created documentaries that have reached the same heights like his Airsoft Fatty doc that has accumulated over 24 million views. On top of that, iDubbbz's criticism used to have the power to sway the public opinion on popular content creators through well-crafted and comedic takedown videos in his hit series called Content Cop. However, over the last few years, Ian has effectively gone on a self-destruction campaign that's unlike anything we've ever seen before. From disavowing his older audience that used to support him,
I did not like the interactions that I had with fans. There were quite a few human beings that I interacted with.
In person?
Yeah, in person, that just sucked. They just sucked because I attracted a lot of people who sucked. Some people were, as I described earlier, were very much like antisocial, weird, basement dwellers.
To his ongoing feud with Sam Hyde.
You hurt me, iDubbbz! No!
Hosting a charity boxing event that lost over $250,000 and didn't donate a penny to charity.
Creator Clash 2, despite it being a fun event and despite good fights and a lot of creators sacrificing a lot of time, money, and energy, we lost $250,000 on the event.
And even more recently, stabbing his friend of nearly a decade in the back to try and revitalize his career.
This is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are.
All of these moments and so much more have been contributing factors to his downfall. This is the full documentary on how iDubbbz destroyed his career. iDubbbz, whose real name is Anisa Jomha, was born on October 1st, 1990, currently making him 34 years old. Not much is known about his life growing up until he graduated high school and started going to college at California State University. Here, Ian graduated with a bachelor's degree in business management. After this accomplishment, his parents wanted him to pursue a career in this field. However, by the time he graduated, his YouTube channel had been doing well enough for him to make it his full-time job. Ian created his first YouTube channel named iDubbbz on March 26, 2010. Here he posted two videos, the first one being Dota gameplay, and the second one being a parody of the Harlem Shake trend. Ian wouldn't post any more videos on this channel after this, but he would create a second channel, iDubbbz TV, 2 years later on August 18, 2012. This would become his main channel, which currently boasts over 7 million subscribers. The name iDubbbz stems from him dubbing over his videos, and this would become his new moniker over time. The original post on the iDubbbz TV channel consisted of Let's Play videos that featured indie games like Overgrowth or Hotline Miami.
Hello everybody and welcome back to more Overgrowth. Today we're going to be playing a level made by Fizzly Games and it's called Cubic Parkour.
Playing these more niche games helped Ian stand out in this genre that was very popular at the time. He would upload these Let's Plays daily for quite a while, slowly building a small cult following. On March 18, 2013, Ian started the first of many series to come on his channel. The original series that started it all was called Gaming News Crap. In these videos, Ian would express his opinions on gaming-related news like new up-and-coming releases.
Alright, so it's been a few weeks since the release of SimCity, and there's a whole timeline of things that happened. Everyone knew the release was going to be kind of crappy because they're doing the online-only thing.
The premise behind Gaming News Crap was simple, and it allowed Ian to find his on-camera personality. The show even inspired the next big series that helped blow up iDubbbz's channel called Kickstarter Crap. Kickstarter crap followed a similar format to gaming news crap. Ian would find Kickstarter projects that were bad and at certain times blatant scams, and he would roast them while also providing solid criticism. On September 18th, 2013, the first episode would be released. The first project iDubbbz criticized was called The Unknown Virus, whose campaign was run by a couple British teenagers who wanted to create a zombie video game.
Alright, so their goal is a very modest 20,540. I can imagine them having the conversation about the Kickstarter in their in their treehouse, being like, "Oh yeah, make a zombie game. It'd be sick. Oh, what if everyone who donated, we made them into a zombie? Oh, that would be so sick."
For some reason, this first episode of Kickstarter crap has been removed from Ian's channel, but it was thankfully archived by a few different YouTubers. Every episode after that is still up on his channel, however. Kickstarter crap would go on to become an iconic series, with most of the episodes having millions of views each now. Some of the most popular videos were on projects like the Smart Water Bottle, the Odin Laser Trackpad, and the Scarp Laser Razor. One of these Kickstarter crap videos would actually be the antithesis of Ian's first internet beef. After covering a project called the Cyber Matrix Console, the man that created this project, called Pisces, decided to make a video addressing iDubbbz's criticism. This is actually where Ian's infamous double slur catchphrase spawns from, as Pisces calls him a combination of the N-word and the F-slur as an insult.
It's not every day that iDubbbz and his Kickstarter crap and his Indiegogo extra minutes is pushing it way too far for the moment, and it's pissing me off for the last draw. I'm sick and tired of that motherfucking
iDubbbz would go on to adopt and use this in his future videos. Yes, Ian would openly use slurs in his videos for comedic effect. During this era of YouTube, he was an edgy content creator, and I don't necessarily think he was a racist or a homophobe. Ian took a more nuanced position of not wanting to give words power, with his criticism of language being, "It's all okay or none of it's okay."
We are very fucking stupid to hold the word at this colossally high standard, whereas every other slur, that can be used in a comedic sense or an editorial sense, but not this one, because that one has history. Well, guess what, fucking retards? All the other ones have history too. Yeah, Asian people didn't get their fucking heads ran over in World War II. They weren't thrown into internment camps. But you can't say that one because it's got sort of it's guttural. Either all of them are okay, or none of them are okay.
After Pisces posted his video, Ian would make a response video thoroughly roasting his attempt to call him out.
Did you guys see that?
is this.
This is the problem with doing one take, is that if you spit through the gap in your teeth in the middle of the video, you just kind of have to roll with it.
The Kickstarter crap series would continue on for years, and by the end of 2014, the iDubbbz channel had grown to almost 100,000 subscribers. It was also around this time Ian would start his next hit project called Bad Unboxing, and the show was exactly what it sounds like. On August 6, 2014, the first episode of Bad Unboxing was uploaded to the iDubbbz channel. The first thing Ian unboxed was a toothbrush.
I didn't brush my teeth today because I actually wanted to see if it would, remove some plaque if I notice any sort of a difference. This isn't cum on my mouth. This is toothpaste. I don't bottle my own cum.
He would begin to unbox a variety of things from pencils to monthly subscription packages and even children's toys. Ian's chaotic and satirical personality carried these videos. And with the combination of Bad Unboxing and Kickstarter crap, the iDubbbz channel would finally break 100,000 subscribers in May 2015. In celebration, he posted a video that featured a variety of things like a montage of funny moments, shitting on a Draw My Life board, and dancing in his Tingles the Elf getup. There's a multitude of different things Ian did between 2015 and 2017 that absolutely blew up his channel and cemented him as a legend in the YouTube commentary space. For the sake of not juggling 3 or 4 timelines of different projects that all ran concurrently, I figure it will be easier to cover one at a time. Starting with the conclusion of Ian's Kickstarter crap series. iDubbbz created over 100 episodes of this series, and he even made short-lived spin-off shows like Indiegogo Excrement, where Ian looked at bad Indiegogo projects. And another spin-off was Where Are They Now?, where Ian looked at old Kickstarter crap projects he had previously covered. The series that started in 2013 ran until 2016, with the final episode being released on November 16th of that year. I think there's a variety of different reasons Ian stopped creating these videos. The main one being the fact that after 3 years, he had effectively ran this idea into the ground. Kickstarter crap would also easily be overshadowed by the other projects Ian was working on around the same time he concluded the series. The first one being his Bad Unboxing series, which I have previously touched on. In 2016, Ian opened up a PO box and began doing his Bad Unboxing videos with the packages his fans sent him. This is when the series became truly unhinged and chaotic in the best ways, as you never knew what was going to come out of these boxes. Sometimes it was legitimate fan mail, and other times it was straight up poop.
Remember I said no gross stuff. This better not be fucking gross. You absolute fucking trash can of a human being. Is that why I'm smelling cologne on everything? Is because you shit in a cup and you don't want me to smell the shit? Okay, I need to be a man. Okay, what I thought was in here was a urinal cake. I thought it was a urinal cake because I saw a little bit of blue. It was like a weird blue, sort of like spongy sort of material. It's not that. It's still... It still stinks.
The Bad Unboxing fan mail was a tremendous success for the iDubbbz channel, with each upload getting millions of views. The most popular episode has over 18 million views at this point. People absolutely loved the chaotic nature of each video and the love-hate relationship Ian seemingly had with his audience. The show was truly one of a kind.
Dear sir, please enjoy this pic of my small animal. Her name is Buzz Aldrin. Okay, we're gonna have a quick quiz right now, because it seems like a lot of you guys weren't picking up what I was throwing down in the previous video. Which of these items do I want sent to my UPS box? Pictures of small animals or gross stuff like Vagicane? Certificate of Achievement awarded to Gay, and then it says his signature down at the bottom there. Alright, enough of that. I'm gonna shoot you right in your fucking hentai. I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out if you don't get me out of this place. I think it's under a lot of pressure right now, because it's not giving me any... It's giving me a lot of fucking resistance. So, I'm just gonna stab the top, and then maybe I can push it down and normal can open it. Right now, I can't really can open it because it's bowed out so much. Alright. Oh. That's rough. Hey guys, it's a real-life children's show. It's me. Yo, Nut Scratcha Scratcha.
Bad Unboxing ran for 80 episodes that were posted consistently until 2018. iDubbbz sort of brought the series back in 2019, but it was only for 4 episodes, so the return was short-lived. Another thing iDubbbz started doing back in 2016 was collaborations with other YouTubers Max Mofo, Filthy Frank, Anything for Views, and How To Basic. This group was unofficially dubbed the Cancer Crew, and they created pieces of media that were akin to fever dreams. Their content truly was unlike anything that's been posted to YouTube before. They all first got together to film the video Hair Cake in November 2015. In this video, Max and Frank shave Ian's head into a bowl of cake mix and attempt to eat the cooked product.
Grab his arms, Max! You haven't salads! No! You haven't salads! You haven't salads! Yeah, boy. I'm sorry this has to happen.
Deep. Oh, yeah, boy.
This entire video is chaos, and the group understandably struggles to swallow the hair cake they created.
Jesus Christ! What the f is that? Yo! Oh, I thought that would cook, like burn. That's so disgusting.
That's pretty bad.
I'm trying my hardest to swallow it. I'm sucking the batter back and that's going down, but the hair clumps stay in my mouth. Well, it's humanly impossible to get the huge clump of hair down your throat. Your body rejects it so bad.
Anything for Views would be introduced in the next video titled Dumbass Gets a PewDiePie Tattoo, in which Chad gets a tattoo of PewDiePie's bro fist on one of his ass cheeks. Ian, Max, and Frank crack jokes at Chad's expense throughout the video, with Ian saying one of his most popular quotes.
What do you boys think?
Hey, that's pretty good.
Over the course of the next year, this crew would continue to make some of the most insane videos that were ever dropped on YouTube. Videos like Deadly Twister.
Please, save me!
Fuck. Please no purple.
Left hand blue? Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, dude, that's not so bad.
It fucking soothes the burns.
Wait, did we skip the end?
The Gentleman's Guide.
Protect the lady!
And of course, the sequel to Hair Cake, which was titled Human Cake. The Human Cake video followed the same concept as Hair Cake, but instead of adding iDubbbz's hair as a special ingredient, the crew gathered bodily fluids and other substances alike from various popular YouTubers like KSI and PewDiePie. They would once again attempt to eat this cake after a marriage is held between Frank and Max, with the video ending in a massive brawl.
Thanks for watching the last video of the Cake Trilogies. This will be the last disgusting piece of work you'll see. Something this disgusting, at least.
The final video the Cancer crew would film together was Deadly Twister 2. Dressed up in Adventure Time costumes, the group once again tortured themselves for their audience's entertainment. The video ends with How to Basic destroying everything. Most of these videos were posted on Filthy Frank and Max Mofo's channels, however, they were so popular that they still helped grow Ian's channel to over 1 million subscribers by May 2016. And it wasn't just these collaborations that helped blow up Ian's channel. It was a combination of his Kickstarter crap and bad unboxing videos, plus the larger collaborations with other YouTubers, and the final series that we haven't discussed yet, the Content Cop series. Content Cop was by far the most popular set of videos iDubbbz has ever created. The concept behind this series was fairly simple. Dressed up in a police costume, Ian would find YouTubers he thought to be problematic, and he would rightfully criticize them and their actions. There is a total of 12 Content Cop videos, with 3 Content Deputy spin-offs, where iDubbbz responds to the creator's reactions to his criticism. Some of these videos were more notable than others, with the most impactful episodes being about some of the largest YouTubers on the platform at the time, like Keemstar, Leafy is Here, and Tana Mongeau. The first episode was released on December 15th, 2015. A YouTuber named Jinx would be the first target the Content Cop set his eyes on. In this 12-minute long takedown, iDubbbz criticizes Jinx for his lazy reaction content and pokes fun at his horrible original content.
Oh, damn, we finally figure out how he outdid everyone. Is because he stole the content from everywhere. It didn't matter. He stole it from the Vine compilations, Try Not to Laugh Vine compilations, Your Grammar Sucks, Markiplier Cries on Camera.
This episode of Content Cop would end up garnering over 19 million views. Just a few weeks after this, Ian released another episode, this time focusing on food reviewers that operated out of their cars. This was the first video that featured multiple sketches, which ended up becoming a core component of the Content Cop series. One of the sketches was iDubbbz doing his own food review, which was a satirical mockery where he ate peaches in a sewer.
SnackDubbbz here, back again with another legit food review. Today we're gonna eat some S&M peaches. Ooh! You bite the peach bites back.
Funnily enough, the peaches in a sewer bit inspired an entire spin-off series called Legit Food Review, where Ian comedically reviewed food for his audience. Some of these were insane, like his sewer pickle review. In this review, Ian swims around in literal sewer water while eating pickles. He even had an open wound that he would wash off with pickle juice.
One great thing you can do with the leftover pickle juice is to pour it on wounds. I got a little wound here from when I was climbing in the water just a minute ago, and if there's any hepatitis C in there, the surefire thing to fix that is a little bit of pickle juice.
This series would go on for years, with the later episodes of Legit Food Review featuring H3H3. A quick side note that's important for later, H3 is another big YouTube channel Ian would collaborate during this era outside of the Cancer Crew. They filmed many videos together, and Ian was a very popular guest on the H3 podcast. Ethan and Ian seem to have a genuine friendship and great on-camera chemistry, especially in the Legit Food Reviews.
Wow. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Legit Food Review. Legit. Do this at the same time. Let's do it at the same time. Legit Food Review.
The next installment of Content Cop would be posted the following year in January 2016. This episode focused on the absurdity of kids' toys review channels. While entertaining, the episodes of Content Cop criticizing less polarizing channels like toy channels, prank channels, and tech destruction channels were definitely the less notable videos of the series. The Content Cop was at his best when he was critiquing the more controversial figures on the YouTube platform. These episodes would come later in 2016, starting with the YouTuber known as Keemstar.
Oh, fucking righteous fucking
Keemstar is a drama-based YouTuber with a controversial past of his own. iDubbbz would give a scathing breakdown of Keemstar's character, as well as highlighted his many hypocrisies throughout his career. Ian even created an original song about Keemstar that was a parody of Smash Mouth's All Star. This would play at the end while he executed gnomes that resembled Keem.
Any last words, Keemstar?
Drop Alert Nation, now over 1,386,000.
Somebody once told me that I could make some money by bullying some people online. So I grew a gnome goatee and put on a stupid beanie and started making up some dank lies. So I'm making death threats and I'm calling people nigger, counting that cash so my channel's growing bigger. Never you mind that I was already banned from my racist, homophobic, hate speech rants.
The Keemstar Content Cop was easily one of Ian's best, with the video earning over 33 million views. Just a few months after this, iDubbbz would drop what many consider to be his greatest content cop of all time on Leafy Is Here. Releasing on September 12th, 2016, this video was meant to serve as giving Leafy a taste of his own medicine by insulting and criticizing him the same way he would do to others. iDubbbz realized Leafy was self-conscious of his chin. He came to this realization because Leafy would constantly hide his chin behind his microphone in his videos or his hands in pictures.
Straight off the bat, I want to let all the newcomers to my channel know that I'm perfectly fine with bullying. Make fun of someone because they're fat, autistic, or riddled with acne. I don't care. Make fun of them. I think my only stipulation with the bullying is that you also have to not be a pussy. You see, because if you're a pussy and you're hiding your putrid, malformed chin behind your hand, your sleeve, or your microphone, you're showing people that you are extremely self-conscious. You're showing people that you're a pussy, and that takes a lot of the oomph out of your bullying.
Ian would also criticize Leafy's content for its lazy nature and how his own attempts at giving people criticism has failed. The ending of the Leafy Content Cop shows iDubbbz going out in public and having people hide Leafy's chin on a big cutout board for prizes.
Attention beachgoers! I'm giving away some prizes over here. All it takes is hiding a chin. All you gotta do is put the OK sign on the chin, just like that. We got a taker.
Oh, perfect. We got a winner.
The next major Content Cop would be dropped the following year on February 6th, 2017. This time, Ian aimed his criticism at the YouTuber Tana Mongeau. During this era, she was huge for her over-exaggerated storytime videos. Ian began crafting this video after Tana tweeted, @iDubbbz, so 3 million people subscribe to you and you openly say the N-word and kill yourself. Ian found this to be hypocritical because Tana also had a past of using the N-word, but in a more hateful way than Ian. iDubbbz would take a trip to one of Tana's meet and greets where he bought some of her merch and waited in line to personally meet her and say the N-word in front of her.
Let's go take a picture because this camera's like for the future.
Ian did this because he knew Tana would make a storytime video exaggerating what happened. This allowed him to deconstruct her video as he recorded what actually happened, proving her to be a massive liar. As crazy as the whole concept of the video was, it surprisingly managed to work as Tana would make an apology video shortly after the content cop. After this, Ian would seemingly take a hiatus from the series for the majority of 2017. He wouldn't drop another episode until around the end of the year. On October 3rd, 2017, content cop Jake Paul would be released. Viewers initially clicked into the video thinking it was really going to be about this Jake Paul, however, it quickly pivoted to actually being about the YouTuber RiceGum. iDubbbz did this bait and switch because RiceGum had essentially been begging for Ian to make a content cop on him for months. Because of this, Ian did not want to give Rice the satisfaction of putting his name and face in the title and thumbnail, opting to use Jake Paul instead. In typical fashion, Ian criticized all of the things Rice has done throughout his time on YouTube that made him a bad person. He used the 7 deadly sins as format, equating each thing Rice has done to one of the sins.
In the brief period he's been on YouTube, he's managed to commit all 7 of the deadly YouTuber sins. So that's the theme for today's video.
7 deadly sins.
It's basically just 7 topics. I just wanted to be cute.
iDubbbz finished the video with his very own diss track that even had a feature from PewDiePie, who was the largest creator on the platform at the time. This content cop was the most popular, reaching over 51 million views before it was removed by a copyright strike. Despite the insane popularity the content cop series had, the RiceGum episode would be the final one for almost a decade as Ian moved on to his next projects. The next few years definitely marked a more experimental era for iDubbbz. Uploads began to slow down on his main channel, and instead he seemingly focused on uploading more frequently on his second channel, iDubbbz TV 2. Ian mostly posted vlogs on this second channel. However, he started a series called the Save the Squirrels Initiative, where he rescued squirrels from his backyard and rehomed them.
Life's gonna get better for you. Won't have to eat bananas anymore. You can have all the bananas you want out here. I'm sort of nervous as soon as I open up the lift gate. He's just gonna latch onto me. All right, we're about to be free, my dude. I hope you're ready for freedom.
He also started a short 3-episode series called Comedians Go Get Food. These videos just featured Ian getting food and having more casual conversations with a few different YouTubers like Ethan Klein and Vsauce. It wouldn't be until the middle of 2018 when Ian returned to somewhat regularly posting on the iDubbbz channel when he brought back his iDubbbz Complain series. In these videos, Ian did exactly what the title insinuates and complained about different topics. While this idea doesn't sound like the most exciting thing, Ian was charismatic enough to make these videos interesting and they performed decently well. Some of the things iDubbbz complained about was portion sizes at restaurants, the lottery, school fundraisers, and even Tom Brady kissing his son on the lips.
The second topic is kissing your kids on the lips. Should you kiss your kids on the lips? Short answer, no.
Going into 2019, Ian continued to post his iDubbbz Complains videos. He also began posting tier list videos where he ranked things like fast food or US presidents. None of these new ideas for Ian had reached the level of popularity quite like his Content Cop series years prior. He wouldn't see that same level of success until he released his first documentary on July 31st, 2019. Titled Full Force, this documentary follows around the YouTube lolcow Airsoft Fatty. You probably know him from this old viral video.
The way of the jet!
You okay? I hope you got
Ian's documentary on Airsoft Fatty was incredibly well made and uniquely interesting in its very own way. Chris and his friends proved to be an extremely funny cast of characters.
This here is where we used to keep some of the cats, and oof, it got hard.
What?
Just trying to scrape up. Yeah, this is the worst part of the basement. Yeah. This was...
Maybe get a shot of that.
Yeah, it's not fun. This is not a part of the house I'm actually proud of.
Yeah, I get you.
I do,
but it's a work in progress. Like
oh yeah, I plan to get everything done. Like I said,
work in progress.
This is literally years.
That's all it is. What do you like about Star Wars?
The fights, obviously, the fight scenes.
The fight scenes, the action scenes.
I'm a weapons guy. Of course I like the fight scenes.
Okay. Is that a leg? No. Yeah, that was the chest. Okay. That was the side. Alright, 1-1.
That was not so bright.
1-1.
The release of this documentary was met with a warm welcome from iDubbbz's audience. The film felt like a refreshing change of pace from the last year's worth of content, and fans were eager to see more of this from iDubbbz. The Full Force documentary currently has over 24 million views, making it Ian's most popular project outside of the Content Cop series. Sadly, this wasn't the exact pivot iDubbbz would take for the channel. Instead, after this doc was posted, he went back to lazier and less inspired content like Reddit meme reviews and a 12-minute rant about peanuts. This is what iDubbbz's content had become going into 2020, and it would really mark the start of the downfall of his channel. This is also around the time Ian's wife, Anisa Jomha, started doing things publicly that began bringing backlash and reputational damage to Ian. The couple began dating in 2016, and I haven't mentioned her yet because she really wasn't a significant figure in this story until about now.
This is the truth, okay? Ian keeps me on a leash, okay? And I'm okay with that because I need to be on a leash. I need to be on a leash, a tight leash, to be honest, because I am unhinged. I feel like more people hate me than Onision.
Often compared to Yoko Ono, Anisa is known for a laundry list of things, none of them being very good. She's an ex-Twitch booby streamer with a track record of saying terrible things and seemingly has an undying love for humiliating her husband, iDubbbz.
I just want to ask you if you've always been shitting your pants.
No.
Because since I've known you, you've always had like IBS. You've always been shitting yourself.
Yeah, well...
In the beginning of the couple's relationship, Anisa was actively trashing Ian in her Discord server full of strangers. She would divulge a variety of inappropriate details about Ian, like how gross his living situation was. And there was even times she discussed breaking up with him to these random people. Outside of exposing sensitive information about her relationship in these Discord servers, Anisa was also known for making inflammatory statements on her Twitch live streams. She unironically defended the Minecraft pedophile Lion Maker, who was literally arrested for his crimes against minors.
I don't like when people go in and rip a content creator apart like that, no matter what like really happens. It gives me anxiety. Like, even if it is like I'm no matter like how serious it is, right? Like, even when Lion Maker, whatever his name was accused of pedophilia, like, it gave me a lot of anxiety because I feel like a lot of it is based on a lot of fiction and not a lot of fact. And like, if the person really isn't as bad as what people think it is, which most of the time they're not, then you're just watching people rip apart somebody that maybe doesn't deserve it as much as, like, I don't know. It's just sad seeing somebody get ripped apart that hard. YouTube videos are okay, let me put it this way. YouTube videos are never sincere.
Well, Lion Maker went to jail for pedophilia. I urge everyone to check out Colossal is Crazy's interview with Lion Maker. It's surreal.
Yeah, I mean, and he went to jail, and then he deserved to go to jail. Like, which is whatever.
Anisa also tried justifying the inhumane experiments on Jews conducted by Nazis during the Holocaust. Yes, that's a real statement.
Experimenting on 10 children to obtain a cure for thousands of kids' lives justified. That's a really hard question, and I think if people are being 100% honest, they'd give you a different answer than what you're expecting. As terrible as the Holocaust was, obviously it was horrendous, and how disgusting the doctor was that did the experiments on people. Gay people, handicaps, twins. I think that's and obviously they were obviously Jewish. Or they did it on Jewish people. They found a couple of really groundbreaking discoveries through that experimentation.
Anisa is not a good person, and her negative reputation directly impacts iDubbbz. This would prove itself to be most true on March 9th, 2020, when Anisa decided to announce on her Twitter she was starting an OnlyFans. iDubbbz would immediately face backlash for this, as most people found it outlandish that a massively successful YouTuber's girlfriend would turn to selling nudes online. People proposed the idea that Ian was a simp or a cuck, and a ton of memes were made based around this. iDubbbz even leaned into the simp allegation by jokingly tweeting a photo of himself comedically angry with the caption reading, "I'm done fuckers, I'm done. No more Mr. Nice Simp." Now, if this had been the only way Ian addressed the controversy, it probably wouldn't have been such a big ordeal. He wouldn't stop with just this tweet though. Instead of letting this drama die down, Ian decided to release a video 2 weeks later that blew up this OnlyFans situation even more, making it so much worse for himself. The video was titled, "Sex Workers, iDubbbz Complains," and for the 9-minute runtime, Ian spends a majority of it angrily ranting about the criticism he received for his girlfriend starting an OnlyFans.
For those of you who are unaware of the drama I recently brought upon myself, I'll fill you in. My girlfriend started an OnlyFans account, which is a website where you can upload amateur porn. Anything from double penetration all the way over to lewd cosplay and everything in between. And I think all of it is cool. Yeah, I know. I didn't think it would be a controversial opinion either. A good amount of people are just doing the reasonable thing and just making jokes and laughing about it. But there's a whole nother group of people who feel personally devastated and betrayed. You lied to us. First of all, I'm not your fucking dad. Like, if you don't want to look up to me anymore, that's fine. I don't want you to look up to me.
While red in the face from anger, iDubbbz pulls up random comments and tries to have pseudo-arguments with them. Ian even pulls up a commentary video made by the YouTuber Atozy and poorly tries to give counter-arguments to what Atozy was saying.
So on the cons, we have everyone can see what he sees for a few dollars.
What exactly do you think I'm seeing? Do you think she's shooting fireworks out of her pussy? Do you think she's screening The Matrix Reloaded down there? It's not a mystery, it's a pussy, dude. And then there's no special pussy. It doesn't become less valuable the more people see it.
Ian finishes off this video by calling anyone who is giving him criticism retarded and proudly states that he is totally fine with people jerking off to photos of his girlfriend, which is insanely pathetic on so many levels.
I think what I've learned from this experience is when you're speaking to a large group of people and there's some dudes in the back shouting out their opinions like, I fucking hate thoughts. I hate whores. Women who sell their body online fucking suck. That's the worst. Instead of ignoring that and just moving on with my lecture, it might be a better idea to point those people out and say, yeah, I actually don't agree with that shitty opinion. Because it seems like me just ignoring it has led to like a cultivation of a bunch of retards. That pretty much wraps up this video. I love my girlfriend, and I'm totally fine with dudes jacking off to pictures of her on the internet.
This video should serve as a lesson on how not to respond to criticism. Ian's response did not help him in any way, and it only served to reinvigorate the audience that was already condemning his choices. This would be the first of many controversies iDubbbz would find himself involved in. Moving forward, Ian continued to make videos pushing through this drama. He even dropped another high-effort documentary following the YouTuber Dax Flame on July 21st, 2020. This documentary didn't perform nearly as well as the Airsoft Fatty one, simply because Dax Flame isn't as interesting as Fatty. Ian tries to break down the character that is Dax Flame, and at the midpoint of the film, it turns into a game show. It's kind of bizarre. There really just wasn't anything super notable to come out of this, and following the Airsoft Fatty doc, this kind of felt like a downgrade in comparison. Regardless of these facts, Ice Cream Man still managed to pull over 7 million views. From here, Ian's upload schedule began to gradually dwindle. To compare some stats, in 2019 he uploaded 17 videos, but in 2020 he only uploaded 11. That number would get even smaller in 2021, with the amount of videos uploaded decreasing to just 5. Going into 2022 wouldn't get any better for Ian either, as he would find himself steeped in controversy all over again. This came after the production of his Sam Hyde documentary. Sam Hyde is a very polarizing figure, to say the least. Depending on who you ask, he's a comedic genius or a Nazi pedophile, and a ton of other things in between. At some point in 2021, iDubbbz flew to New York to attempt to break down the mystery behind Sam Hyde, but he failed miserably. Sam rightfully suspected this documentary to be a gotcha-style hit piece and came up with a plan to effectively troll iDubbbz during the time he spent filming.
Joey, can you open up the iDubbbz gaslighting document? we came up with a lot of funny ideas to like pull tricks. And I hired this crackhead girl to pretend to be my girlfriend, and she said that she told iDubbbz that I like abuse her and all this stuff. And we did all these funny like prank things, but it wasn't to make him look like an asshole. It was to like make his project funnier. Yeah. Like we wanted to make, because the thing is, I like iDubbbz. I think he's funny, and I wanted to. I know he was getting like some static or whatever with people online. I wanted to make a video with iDubbbz where it was like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy mayhem. This is funny.
Yeah,
and make something cool. So we have the iDubbbz gaslighting video document here. This was our prep document. Can you scroll down?
Before anything was filmed, this was like the day one prep.
And what part of what went wrong was I think iDubbbz was kind of trying to punk me a little bit. Yeah. And like make me look like a guy that had like fallen off, which I have. Like I've fallen off, like undoubtedly. But I think he kind of wanted to like, he wanted to come out here and see something depressing, and we like ended up making this kind of like funny thing. Stuff to buy: lots of alcohol, a bunch of Pokemon cards. Try to tell him what Pokemon is, as if it's some new thing like crypto. Buy parakeets from Petco. Fill fridge with unbagged meat. Spend $10K on scratch tickets. A bunch of dead wasps.
Quarter pound of weed on the table.
Sam spent over $15,000 renting out an old dentist's office to stage as his headquarters. He and his crew packed into this small space with computers and recording equipment. He even hired 2 fake bodyguards, making for a really messy and chaotic environment.
Think it, dream it, do it. We get a chant going. Think it, dream it, do it. Think it, dream it, do it. Think it, dream it, do it.
He also convinced Ian to do boxing training underneath some random bridge next to what looks like a homeless encampment.
Mr. iDubbbz is too loud. Mr. iDubbbz is too loud.
Okay. You have the wind knocked out.
The real highlight of Sam's trolling plans was his fake girlfriend, Danny. Danny was just some college student Sam knew and paid her $500 to shave her head and act like she was on drugs in front of iDubbbz.
Okay, so yeah, if you just like stop smoking, your blood pressure goes like all the way down, can't you like give her a hug, you know, like blood just stop flowing and fucking dry.
iDubbbz would end up believing every single thing Sam told him and presented to him. He wouldn't realize it was all a ruse until he conducted his final interview with Sam, and he genuinely asked him if he ever tried to get his girlfriend Danny some help.
I'm curious about your relationship with Danny. Has she been on drugs since she met you?
She's been on drugs since before she met me. So if you're implying that I've driven her to drug use, you are incorrect.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's what I wanted to sort of get out of the way.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad we got that out of the way.
Have you tried to get her any help?
No, seeing as she's a girl I paid $500 to shave her head and pretend to be my girlfriend, no, I haven't tried to get her any help. Should you want me to try?
Well, okay.
I don't know her that well. It's probably not my business to get her off drugs. Also, I think I told her to put her hand in your pocket and pretend to be on drugs.
Shut up.
You think are you serious? You think I would date a girl that has her hair shaved like that?
Yes.
You think I'm a fucking mental case?
Yes.
No, actually, I've known her for a long time. And
this is so upsetting to me right now.
You think I'm a fucking millionaire? You think I have a shit-ass office like this?
Shut up. This is your office.
Says who? You think I would fucking spill rock stars and Legos all over my office like a fucking animal and have 20 people in a fucking dentist's office? You know this is a converted dentist's office, right? That's why there's like paintings of like whales on the walls and shit.
Ian, you silly guy. So you're punking me.
I'm not punking you. I'm trying to make I thought it'd be funny for your fans. I thought they'd like it.
The whole thing?
I would never do anything
The whole thing's a ruse.
Actually hurt you or upset you or make you look foolish. I would not do that.
This wasn't the only big reveal during the interview with Sam. We also learned the reason why iDubbbz wanted to make a documentary on Sam in the first place. It turns out one of Ian's Kickstarter crap videos was on a project that was jokingly started by Sam to mess with bronies. After iDubbbz released the video on the project, Sam copyright struck the video and emailed Ian if he could squat 250 pounds, then the strike would be released.
Do you remember our first interaction?
No.
You don't?
No. I have very bad memory, though.
Yeah.
Was it bad?
What do you think?
Did I snub you or slight you or something?
What
did I do?
Your memory's that bad?
Yes.
You don't remember?
I do not remember.
Okay. Do you remember...
What was it?
You remember making a pony game?
Yes.
There were some creators at the time who made videos about this fake pony project.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Were you one of them?
I was one of them.
What did I do?
Do you have any guesses?
Did I say fuck you or something?
No, you copyright claimed the video.
Really?
Yes. And then you sent me an email.
I mean, I don't do most copyright claims. What was the email?
The email was, I will release the copyright claim on your video if you can send me a video of yourself squatting 200 pounds below parallel.
Why didn't you do that? You'd be so much stronger now if you'd done that.
Yeah.
Damn. Did I create an enemy with that?
I mean, for a period.
Damn,
I didn't like you.
I'm sorry.
You were an asshole.
I'm sorry, buddy. That's no good.
Yeah, why'd you do that to me?
I don't know. I can't even remember what your video was. So maybe I was pissed off or something. I don't know. I was trying to not have that ruse get blown though.
Right.
So maybe that had something to do with it.
That probably did.
I'm sorry. I don't remember that.
This really just makes it seem like Ian was still mad and holding a grudge against Sam for something that happened over 7 years prior. And what's really crazy is none of this would have ever come to light if Sam didn't record and release his own documentary on iDubbbz in January 2022. The documentary was titled The Truth About iDubbbz, and this came almost an entire month before Ian released his doc on Sam. Sam released his first because Ian was seemingly unhappy with being punked, and it didn't look like he ever planned on releasing his footage. In order to not waste $15,000 and 2 weeks of his crew's time, Sam put together his own footage and released it. This documentary did incredibly well, gaining over 1 million views in just 1 week, and it currently sits at 4.3 million views. This video did not only perform well, but it also effectively pushed iDubbbz into finally releasing his own documentary on February 2nd titled Getting Away With It. It included the previous footage shown in Sam's doc with additional things like iDubbbz trying to break down Sam's comedy and his personal thoughts during the filming process. Both documentaries are interesting, with Sam's doing a better job at humanizing everyone involved, and it shows the breakdown of the troll he pulled off. This whole interaction with Sam would do irreparable damage to iDubbbz's psyche for years to come. He would go on to be a theoretical boogeyman for Ian all the way into the current day and age. After the Sam Hyde documentary, iDubbbz would get into influencer boxing of all things. He was originally supposed to box Rice Gum towards the end of 2021. Ian would make a video that October trying to organize a fight with him. This did seem like something that would reasonably pan out, seeing Rice Gum has been trying to set up a fight with Ian since he released his Content Cop episode on him years prior. Unfortunately, the boxing match never came to fruition as Rice Gum decided to pull out of the fight. This news would upset iDubbbz as he spent the last few months training, and he even went as far as getting LASIK eye surgery to help improve his ability to box. Not wanting to give up on the idea of competing in a boxing match, iDubbbz decided to create what is now known as Creator Clash. Creator Clash is a boxing event that features YouTubers big and small duking it out for their audience's entertainment, with iDubbbz being the main event. The concept behind influencer boxing events isn't an original idea, as there are plenty of organizations already dedicated to this, like Happy Punch and Misfits Boxing. The thing that set Creator Clash apart from its competitors was the fact that 100% of its profits would be donated to charity, at least the first time. On March 22nd, 2022, iDubbbz dropped a video announcing he would be fighting Dr. Mike and explained the concept behind Creator Clash.
I have been training hard, so I don't anticipate losing to Dr. Mike, just so we're all on the same page. This isn't a joke. This isn't a parody event. This is happening. We have a bunch of fighters involved in this event, YouTubers turned fighters, and that brings me to the topic of our fighters. We have a card of 22 people.
Creator Clash was going to be held less than 2 months after its announcement in Tampa, Florida on May 14th. All of the fighters on the roster were given a stipend to cover training costs and got to work. One of the fighters, Harley Morenstein from Epic Mealtime, decided to train with Sam Hyde. Sam originally wanted to be a fighter on the roster but was told no and deemed a business risk by iDubbbz. Regardless of that fact, he still helped train Harley and wanted to attend the event to support him on on the night of his fight. He would spend over $10,000 on ringside tickets for himself and the MDE crew. iDubbbz waited until Sam and his crew traveled all the way to Florida a day before the event to tell them they wouldn't be allowed in and tried to refund their tickets.
We go outside of the venue and there he is, Anisa, Ian, and some other promoter guys out there. They're waiting for us. Harley doesn't want to cause a problem for iDubbbz. Neither do we.
I feel like he might have said something like, if you don't take care of the situation, you're not fighting. Something like that. That's my crazy part of my mind.
I would imagine that was the same thing, and Harley just wants to protect his own interest. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy part of my mind is thinking that something like that was said.
That's what it looked like. That's really insane. What it looked like. So we're talking to him and we're trying to reason. Here was Ian's A plan. He knew about the tickets before we pulled up. He was going to ban all of Sam's tickets. He was going to refund them, and none of us could come in. And it was going to be a surprise for when we first got there.
Yeah, he was going to wait until I was in Tampa to spring that news on me.
That was his gift to you? That was his nice surprise gift?
Yeah, haha, made you come to Tampa.
Ian insisted that they were there to troll a charity event no matter how much Sam denied the claims. Sam would be outright banned from the venue, but thankfully the rest of the MDE crew were still allowed in to show their support for Harley. Despite this minor drama, Creator Clash would go on to be massively successful, selling over 10,000 seats and over 100,000 pay-per-views. The event was able to generate over $1.3 million for charity, which is an incredible accomplishment. Additionally, each fighter was given a nearly $30,000 bonus. Combine that with their initial stipend and they earned anywhere between $40,000 and $50,000 for their participation. Even though iDubbbz lost his fight to Dr. Mike, he did not lose his interest in boxing. He would upload a video a little over a week after Creator Clash, giving his thoughts on his fight and announcing he was interested in doing it again for Creator Clash 2.
Learn the most from your losses, and I learned a fuck ton from this loss. So I'm excited because I do feel like I'm a better fighter after this loss. And I'm ready to try it again as long as you guys want to see me fight again.
After this, the iDubbbz channel would go dormant for the rest of the year, only uploading 2 more times, once in November and once in December. January 2023 would roll around and iDubbbz would finally drop a video announcing Creator Clash 2, this time with a bigger venue and more fighters. One of the most sought after fights on the card was Froggy Fresh vs Chris Raygun. Froggy was an old school YouTube legend many people were excited to see in the ring. Not only was he one of the biggest draws to the event, but he was also one of the biggest promoters for it as well. He went on multiple podcasts spreading the word and really did a decent job building hype around his fight. Unfortunately, just 3 weeks before Creator Clash 2, one of Froggy's attempts to draw more attention to his fight seemingly got him removed from the card. He would post a video on Twitter jokingly stating if he lost his fight, he would be so ashamed of himself that he would subscribe to Anisa's OnlyFans.
On April 15th, if I don't hurt you beyond what anybody could have imagined, I will be so disappointed in myself that I will subscribe to Anisa's OnlyFans.
This greatly upset the Jomhas. You would think, since Ian has stated he thinks Anisa doing OnlyFans is really cool, and he's fine with people subscribing to her, that Froggy's joke wouldn't have been taken so seriously. However, it was taken seriously, and 2 days after Froggy posted that video, the Creator Clash Twitter would announce he would no longer be fighting. This caused a massive stir amongst the community and an outpouring of support from fans for Froggy to be put back on the card. Larger creators like Moist Critical, Some Ordinary Gamers, and Gideon offered hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of charity donations if Froggy was put back on the card. Even with their offers, Anisa and Ian still ultimately decided to keep Froggy banned from Creator Clash. The pair did their best to ignore the brewing drama and instead focused on their charity event. Creator Clash 2 followed the same charity model as the first one, except this time Ian and Anisa spent way more money on the event in an attempt to make it more like VidCon. This isn't a conspiracy theory or anything, they flat out said this on the H3 podcast following the success of the first event, as well as a few other interesting things. Ian and Anisa claim the real main focus of Creator Clash is getting people paid, and the charity is just a mere aspect of the event. The two of them would even make the insane claim that they were inspired to do this by Jake Paul.
You want to do it again?
Yeah.
I see.
If it works out, then we can do that, and there could always be a charity aspect to it. But I think the main goal is just to get the people paid who are involved in making it happen, rather than like making exorbitant amounts of money.
So your goal is to build an institution of sorts, this creator clash, where you can have
it's
people.
fun.
There's a champion every year.
Yeah, it's a party.
Interesting.
It's like a way more exciting VidCon. Or like I want it to be like influencers can like care about this and fans can care about this and like you can go watch it and have like a build up, like maybe parties before and like stuff like that.
Yeah, because we've gone to like the last Jake Paul event, and it was crazy the amount of influencers that were there, excited to see it. They weren't all my cup of tea.
Sure.
But it was exciting. Everyone wanted to be there.
In an attempt to make Creator Clash 2 more like VidCon, Ian and Anisa would spend an exorbitant amount of money on totally unnecessary things. For starters, they rented out an entire hotel for over 300 creators to stay in, costing well over $150,000. They flew in Twitch streamers like Hassan Piker, Denims, Froggy, and many others just to watch the event. They also hosted multiple before and after parties, one of them being a red carpet gala award show with a hired comedian and performers. They even paid for and flew out Getty images to capture all of this. If it's not very apparent, Creator Clash 2 was designed to be a glorified clout party for a bunch of influencers to rub shoulders with one another. Because of all these ridiculous expenses and the Froggy Fresh drama, the event was a tremendous failure. Not only did Ian lose another fight, Creator Clash 2 also lost over $250,000 and not a single penny was able to be donated to charity. iDubbbz would make his audience privy to this information in a video he posted 6 weeks after the event titled The Truth About Creator Clash 2.
For Creator Clash 2, despite it being a fun event and despite good fights and a lot of creators sacrificing a lot of time, money, and energy, we lost $250,000 on the event. The way that this typically works for anyone who's unaware is that once our expenses are paid off for the event, like all the minimums of broadcasting, the hotel, travel, all that sort of stuff, once that's all paid off, then we can start paying the charities. Unfortunately, we didn't even reach the break-even point. Right? We're $250,000 in the red.
In this video, iDubbbz puts most of the blame on Creator Clash 2's failure on pirated streams. He then briefly mentions the hotel he rented out and the parties he threw and claims they were entirely necessary and he wouldn't have changed his decisions.
If we didn't book the Creator Hotel when we did, I don't think we would have had nearly as many creators show up to show support, and our pay-per-view numbers actually could have been hurt by that. We also had events the day before the fight and the day after the fight, so that fighters and friends and family could come together and process their trauma. That was sort of paramount for me because the first year we did the fight and then I went to bed. I got the shit kicked out of me by Dr. Mike, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up, the hotel was empty, and then I got on a flight and traveled 5 hours with my face completely swollen back to Seattle. And I was like, that was cool. That was so worth it. There was nothing. There was no processing my trauma. There was no talking to anyone and relating about the experience afterward. Everyone was gone. And that shit felt awful. So yeah, some of these things that might seem extraneous, in my opinion, were entirely necessary, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
The Kids Cancer Foundation didn't receive a donation, but at least Ian and his friends got to go to multiple parties and their own made-up award show for all of their influencer friends they flew out. A couple months after Creator Clash 2 failed, iDubbbz would host a 24-hour stream raising money for charity in an attempt to make up for not raising any money previously. He had donation goals where he would do different things like shave his mustache or go bald depending on how much money was raised. This was the infamous livestream his wife Anisa humiliated him by sharing the fact he has IBS and constantly shits himself.
I just want to ask him if you've always been shitting your pants.
No.
Because since I've known you, you've always had like IBS. You've always been shitting yourself.
Yeah, well.
She did this for no reason in front of thousands of people. This is incredibly embarrassing for Ian, and it did not help the already poor image he was developing. On top of that, he was already struggling with tanking his reputation from the 2 videos he posted before The Harsh Truth About Creator Clash 2. The first video he posted after the event was on May 3rd, 2023, titled Addressing the Froggy Fresh Drama. By this point, almost 2 months had already passed since the Froggy drama came and went. It's clear Ian chose to wait until all of the controversy died down to finally address the drama. This was done intentionally in order to avoid the immense amount of negative backlash he would have received if he addressed it while it was happening. It's an incredibly cowardly thing to do, and the video was still rightfully received very poorly. During the video, iDubbbz would reveal the main reason Froggy was removed from Creator Clash 2 was because he was being trained by the boogeyman, Sam Hyde. It appears the mere thought of potentially being trolled by Sam again was enough for iDubbbz to have this massive overreaction and remove Froggy from the card. Ian paints Froggy out to be a bad person that was trashing Ian and the event before he was removed from the card. He does this by showing out of context clips of Froggy after he was removed.
Anyone who's under the impression that Froggy has been like reasonable and chill and respectful through this whole process, he hasn't been. He's been a piece of shit. I'm not happy with how he's behaved. He's talked mad shit about me.
Ian doesn't want people who are bigger and more talented than him upstaging him. That's what it is.
Anisa.
Ian's masculinity had been completely removed via Anisa.
Participants of the event.
This is really a lot of weird, tender, soft people. Creator Clash people are real, like, these type of people. You know what I mean?
The event itself.
This is really like the patty cake league for like social media boxing. You know?
He doesn't like the culture of Creator Clash, and he mentioned that.
And Chris Reagan and all these people, it's like some big ethos worshiping party at these things. And I don't get it. I don't get what all this shit is all about. But everybody's there to worship ethos or fucking ethos or like touching ethos titty or pussy.
To be honest, I thought it was quite the gift to you that we'd kick you off the card.
All of these clips of Froggy bad-mouthing Ian came after Froggy was removed and not before like Ian claims. Doing this is incredibly disingenuous and purposely done to further Ian's narrative that Froggy deserved to be removed from the card. This whole video is bad, and a majority of his audience didn't agree with his decisions. The video following immediately after this one was arguably even worse. I Missed the Old iDubbbz was released on May 18th, just about 2 weeks after he addressed the Froggy drama. Inside this video, iDubbbz claims he feels the need to apologize for his past content because it was cruel. He highlights the Content Cop series in particular, and even offers an apology to everyone he made a video on, especially Tana Mongeau.
I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it. The content I'm talking about specifically are Content Cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons and, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end. I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making Content Cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human, I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. I'm sorry to everyone that I made Content Cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way. I particularly want to apologize to Tana. Tana, I'm sorry. I should have never made that video. I harassed Tana in person and then harassed her online, and that's deplorable behavior.
He also apologized for his use of slurs and detailed a story of meeting a fan that made him feel like his past content was bigoted.
One year I was at a convention and a bunch of fans were, wanting pictures, and this particular fan came up to me and said, I know you probably don't like transgender people, but can I, get a picture? That smacked me in the face. I was like, oh, holy shit. Why would you think that? But it was fairly obvious. I was being cruel, hateful, bigoted, and being very uncaring about people's feelings.
At one point, iDubbbz references a clip from a podcast he did with Anthony Padilla. On this podcast, he called his audience basement-dwelling incels. He doesn't apologize for ostracizing his fan base, but instead weirdly kind of doubles down on his statement.
There is a clip from this interview that's been floating around the internet, and it's me calling my fans antisocial and basement dwellers, and I was like, I didn't like, interacting with my fans. I just want to be clear, that was my realization. I think a lot of people are like, of course that happened, is because you were creating that culture and you were attracting those people. And it's like, yes, I know. I know now. I didn't know before. It was my realization upon, meeting more and more fans that I was like, oh shit, you guys are struggling. It was easy for me to identify them struggling when they were outside of my body. But the antisocial basement-dwelling incel that was inside here, I couldn't acknowledge that. I couldn't recognize that. So I needed the mirror to be held up to me.
He wraps the video up with the insane claim that he finally learned the ability to feel empathy at the age of 32.
I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability empathy. And I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32 I've acquired empathy, but I have, and I've realized it because I just can't help myself but feel for other people's pain and suffering now.
This video was divisive, with most of his audience disagreeing with him apologizing for the content cops. A massive majority of content cops were made on people that rightfully deserved it. Even Tana Mongu responded by saying she didn't need an apology and that the content cop changed her for the better.
And I guess he posted this apology video apologizing for a bunch of things he did in the past, one of them being the video he made with me or to me or something. And I was like, damn. I just never expected that. And I don't know how I feel about it, because and I don't know how to say this. I'm not talking about anything in regards of the things he said, but I'm more so just talking about his actions to me. Him showing up to my show, him kind of putting me on blast, him inevitably making me kind of canceled and lose subscribers and have to apologize and all that type of stuff. I kind of think I deserved that. And maybe that's dark to say, but I don't feel like I'm owed an apology. And maybe that's because I've accepted it so much that people always ask me if you could go back in time and make that never happen, would you? And I always say no, because I feel at the time it was obviously a very Oscar goes cry.
I heard him.
It was a very dark time period of my life when it came to self-reflection and trying to figure shit out. And I think I would be a completely different person if I didn't have that. I think I was on track to just be so on my high horse and egotistical and nothing could go wrong, that something going wrong gave me such a dose of reality that this might not last forever.
Yeah,
you need to be held accountable for actions. I don't know, it made me do so much necessary growth. And I think it also changed the entire trajectory of my career and life. I don't even think canceled would be here if I didn't get canceled a bunch and that was kind of the start of that.
It's okay for Ian to apologize for his use of slurs and want to grow into a more mature person. People took more offense at the fact he was bastardizing his old content and making it out to be something it absolutely wasn't. One other thing I found interesting that Ian said in this video was that he was insecure about his ability to make interesting or entertaining content.
I am very insecure about my ability to create interesting content or entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly.
The whole reason the iDubbbz channel was successful and gained millions of subscribers was because Ian was in fact interesting and entertaining. The concepts behind Kickstarter crap, bad unboxing, and Content Cop weren't exactly groundbreaking, but Ian's personality and creativity made them something special. The problem with his content post 2022 is the lack of personality. It's almost like he's phoning it in now. Add that with the cuck and simp allegations because of his wife, his fear of Sam Hyde, failing a charity event, and ostracizing a giant chunk of his fans from his comments, it's not a surprise a majority of his audience has abandoned him at this point. After his apology video, he started making things like ranking Cheez-Its and ranking playground equipment, which both struggled to break 200,000 views. I know that's still a lot, but for iDubbbz's channel standards, this was poor. He has over 7 million subscribers, and his old tier list videos used to pull millions of views each. Another video he made at the start of 2024 was a pseudo content cop style video on cart narcs. You know, the guy that hounds people to put their shopping carts back in the return like a decent human being instead of leaving them in the middle of the road or parking spaces. It's already a weird thing to complain about. Seeing cart narcs is honestly a net positive, but some of the gripes Ian had with these videos were just unreal. For example, iDubbbz thought being called lazy for not returning your cart was one of the most hurtful things ever.
There's a lot of people who say like, yeah, this ain't so bad. The cart narc, he's hitting people with the white people insults. What's so wrong with that? It's like, dude, if someone called you lazy bones, would you not feel fucking awful? Especially if you're being lazy? That shit is like a level 9 white people insult. Those hurt.
What the hell happened to this guy? Only someone who leaves their carts in the road or parking spaces would get offended by this content. I think one of the greatest examples of Ian's lack of personality was his appearance on Cold Ones, where he was reunited with Max and Chad on June 6th, 2024. The atmosphere between these three old friends is just awkward. iDubbbz seemingly had no energy, and it really feels like he has just become a shell of himself. Surprisingly, he would address the Cold Ones appearance on the podcast he does with Anisa called She Ruined My Career. The title of the podcast is supposed to be a joke, but at this point it seems more like the harsh reality of his situation.
That video I recorded with Max and Chad, that is much closer to how I behave in real life. And I feel really bad that I didn't, I mean, it's a good experiment. I'm glad I did it, but I really wish that I had known that that energy is, I think, kind of needed for something like a Cold Ones video.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more, like, if you're not going to be outwardly, like, loud and active, like, you got to make up for it a little bit with some crazy behavior like shaving your eyebrows and your head.
Yeah.
This podcast is yet another boring project Ian has undertaken. It's really just designed to be a pseudo-therapy outlet for both Ian and Anisa, where they just emotionally dump about things nobody really cares about, like their relationship. I don't really know who the target audience is here, if there really is one, and I think the numbers the show pulls in kind of reflects that. Ian really has tried everything to revitalize the iDubbbz channel. He even tried bringing back Bad Unboxing towards the end of 2024 and the start of 2025, but it really just wasn't the same, and it was quickly abandoned once again. 2025 for iDubbbz can only be described one way: total self-destruction. On February 7th, Ian would announce Creator Clash 3. That's right, after the monumental failure that was Creator Clash 2, iDubbbz thought it would be a genius idea to do it again.
Creator Clash is back. Tickets are available down below.
I don't know how he managed to convince himself doing this a third time was some kind of good idea. Remember, Creator Clash 2 promised 14 separate charity organizations donations and failed to raise a single penny for any of them. I honestly think the main reason iDubbbz convinced himself to do Creator Clash 3 was because he pretty much removed the charity element, making it 100% for profit. Ian will still call this a charity event though, which couldn't be further from the truth, and to make matters worse, he will use it as a shield for criticism in the very near future. Creator Clash 1 and 2's charity donation model were identical to one another. All net profits from ticket sales and pay-per-view buys would be donated to charity in its entirety. Creator Clash 3's charity model removed this element. Ticket sales and pay-per-view buys for this event did not guarantee any money for charity now. You could only find this out by combing through their terms of service, as iDubbbz made sure not to tell anyone this. The only way Creator Clash 3 attempts to raise money for charity now is by attaching an external link to a GoFundMe style page asking for donations. None of this new information was explained by Ian or anyone else that helps the event. Calling Creator Clash 3 a charity event is like calling McDonald's a charity restaurant because they have a donation box out at the register for Ronald McDonald's charity. And if you thought the announcement for Creator Clash 3 was bad, one of the following videos was even worse. On April 16th, iDubbbz decided to revitalize the Content Cop series. series. That's right, after declaring content cop videos are cruel, saying nobody deserves one done on them, and going on a years-long apology tour for them, Ian decided to make another one. He's really leaning into that newfound empathy he acquired. The new content cop installment was on Ethan from H3H3 Productions. Ethan has plenty of things you can criticize him for, but the way Ian went about it in this video is absolutely horrendous. Also, Ethan being the subject of the content cop came as sort of a surprise to most people, as Ian and Ethan have seemingly been friends for almost a decade. They've collaborated with each other since 2016, with Ian pretty much being an annual guest on the H3 podcast. Ethan has also staunchly defended Ian and Anisa throughout the years and was one of the biggest promoters for Creator Clash 1 and 2, so he really felt like a weird target to pick. Content Cop H3 was literally just an hour and 6 minutes of concern trolling. Concern trolling is the action or practice of disingenuously expressing concern about an issue or individual in order to undermine or derail a genuine discussion. This is exactly what the H3 Content Cop is. Throughout this video, Ian frames Ethan as a mentally unstable live streamer that is constantly crashing out, and he just wants to see him get help. What he doesn't mention a single time is the reason why Ethan was angry in all of the clips he presented. It turns out a massive majority of these out-of-context Ethan clips comes from a podcast titled "Snark Called Child Protective Services on Us." For additional context that Ian won't give you, Ethan has been at war with various different leftist communities for the last 2 years over the Israel-Palestine conflict. The back and forth has gotten pretty out of hand, with a false rumor being spread that Ethan's children were crawling around in and eating dog poop, giving them diseases. After that narrative began to spread, Ethan was falsely reported to Child Protective Services in an attempt to get his kids taken away from him.
They're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. On Friday morning, an agent showed up to our house saying that they had received an anonymous tip that our children were crawling around in dog shit, eating dog shit, and contracting diseases. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed. It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless, and will likely remain that way.
The reason iDubbbz decided to make this content cop on Ethan was because after this, he began criticizing both Ian and Anisa for being friends with some of the people that are helping spread these lies. Ethan wanted his friend to come to his defense during this time, but instead, Ian refused. Now, I'm not saying Ian has to publicly defend Ethan, but if he was this new, empathetic man he told everyone he was, telling people your friend has a clean house so they don't have CPS falsely called on them seems like an easy thing to do. Instead, Ian would state on his podcast that he wanted to stay out of the drama and didn't want to dogpile on anything going on.
Ethan's upset with, I think, some of our connections, and, we've tried to reach out to Ethan to talk privately. Basically, it just seems like we're at a bit of an impasse, so we want to stay out of the drama as much as possible. We don't want to pile on and add to anything.
Which is insane, seeing just a few weeks later he did exactly that. With the now added context of Ethan being falsely reported to CPS, and Ian's refusal to speak out, you can understand why Ethan was rightfully angry on a podcast titled "Snark Called Child Protective Service on Us." You would think this is a pretty important detail to note, but iDubbbz does not mention it a single time throughout this video. The beginning of the content cop shows iDubbbz inside Hassan Piker's room, and he's joined by some of the most content coppable people online. Of course, there's Hassan, who's one of the largest leftist political commentators on Twitch. He's a champagne socialist known for making statements like, "America deserved 9/11.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
And he's more recently become known for being a terrorist supporter.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization.
Do we like them or no?
I don't have an issue with them, let's just say. But they are a terrorist organization. Like, they're designated. They are designated by the American state as a terrorist organization.
I do not like them then.
Well,
also in the intro was Denims, another leftist streamer who uncritically reacted to the man spreading the rumor about Ethan's kids while her chat sent a bunch of messages advocating to call CPS.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something. But they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over his house.
Dude, how is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to? And every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit.
Froggy also makes an appearance in the intro. Froggy is yet another leftist streamer who's only really known for saying vitriolic things like hoping all American soldiers get PTSD.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. Distress, thank you so much. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. Oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you. I hope you get PTSD. And I hope you get no health insurance when you get back into fucking America.
Lastly, there's Shonda Black. Yes, that's his name. And he's really only known for making a comment one time about how killing the streamer Destiny would somehow accomplish socialism.
Can somebody just like, it would just be so easy to it will save, like, solve all of our problems. Like, we would have socialism now at this point, right? We would have socialism at this point if someone just went out of their way and it would be so easy.
This nightmarish group Fortnite L dances for a bit before flicking the camera off, finally launching into Ian's criticisms. Deconstructing this entire content cop would be an hour-long video on its own, so I'm going to focus on the more insane things I found. In the beginning, Ian immediately downplays his relationship with Ethan and springs into defense of Hassan Piker. He then vaguely mentions why Ethan has become upset with him and starts giving reasons why he won't defend him. One of the main reasons he says he won't defend Ethan and Hila, who are both Jewish, was because Anisa was half Irish and half Lebanese. He basically claims Anisa is well aware of the oppression her people faced from Israel, so of course she wouldn't defend Ethan and Hila.
Of course I was gonna stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anisa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anisa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me. No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
Anisa isn't even close to being half Lebanese. She's literally stated in her Discord she's only 8% Arab. That means Keemstar is more African than Anisa is Arab. After this, iDubbbz disingenuously makes the assumption that H3 is upset with him because he follows people on Twitter.
We're not gonna run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people? We be following. That's one fucked up thing that you can say about Anisa and I is, when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
I'm not upset, Ian, because you follow people. That is absurd. I'm mad because you are actively engaging with these people on social media, in DMs, while this harassment is happening, seemingly indifferent to it, silent on it. In a sense, I felt like you were more on their side than my side.
Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out.
Our silence means something. That's exactly what we felt.
It's kind of insane how much iDubbbz misinterprets this. He goes on to spend 5 minutes of the video trying to make a point if people follow Froggy, that means they're enemies of Ethan. During the content cop, Ian also makes the claim that the H3 podcast is horrible because it's used as an emotional dumping ground, and that's not what podcasts are.
You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are.
This is incredibly ironic and hypocritical, seeing the fact that Ian states on the very first episode of his own podcast that it's a place for him to dump.
I just need to sometimes dump a little bit, and I also like talking when I feel like it's appropriate. Sometimes in like my normal videos, I'm like, people don't want to fucking hear me talk. They just want to hear me, or they do, but it's like background noise, or they want to see a premise of a video or whatever. And not having that and just being like, all right, I'll dump, I think is like a satisfying thing for me.
So it's okay when he does it, but not okay when Ethan does it. iDubbbz also lets Ethan know that he doesn't care what's happening to him, and nobody he respects would give a fuck if he defended him.
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck.
This is incredibly rich coming from the guy that claims he just learned to be empathetic the year prior. After this, he brings up Reddit snark talking points about Ethan's podcast crew, which the crew immediately shot down live on air.
Put in the worst working environment that you possibly can be for a fucking podcast. Every crew member has it bad.
I'm chilling, dude. You don't need to do this. You don't gotta do that.
Speak for yourself.
You don't gotta do all
Dan.
that, dude.
Why does he? So actually, this part is kind of good. Without getting into this.
No. You're right though. Let's just get to the meat. Get to the stuff about you.
It's just so like, stupid. Dude, why are you?
It's so stupid. You got a problem with us? Focus on us.
Listen, they're not slaves, okay? They fucking choose to be here, right? So why are you putting words in their mouth? Thoughts like you're speaking for them as if
this is the snark thing.
Yeah,
it's so snark brains. Snarkonomics.
Yeah.
The ending of the content cop is one massive self-own, and I don't even know why he included it in the video. Ian's grand finale was speaking with a man known as Dr. Kirk Honda, who runs the YouTube channel Psychology in Seattle. He's a licensed psychologist that has a series on his channel where he rates YouTubers' apologies and has given both Ethan and Ian scores previously. Ethan received an A+ for his apology after the QT Cinderella situation, and Ian received a B+ apology for his past behaviors. Ian traveled to Seattle and showed him an out-of-context compilation of Ethan in an attempt to get his grade lowered below his own. His plan failed, with the psychologist telling Ian he won't be changing his score and that he thinks Ethan just needs a hug. Ian then had to scrap together a different ending where he got all of Ethan's biggest haters to say something nice about him. They all put on a fake smile and said disingenuous statements for a few minutes. And I say they're disingenuous because they are. Sean DeBlack stated on his stream days later that he thought he had to say something nice and wouldn't have done so if he knew he had an option not to.
We're watching Hassan watch it, and I want Hassan to watch it. And Hassan doesn't have a nice thing about Ethan. And the chat asked what I'm thinking. I'm like, wait, you didn't do a nice thing about Ethan? And he was like, no. And I'm like, wait, that was an option? I could have just said no.
This really is just an insult to Ian, as it only undermines the end goal of his video. The final bits of Content Cop shows Ian crying in front of the psychologist about his relationship and the harassment he receives online while projecting about Ethan and Hila.
You know, I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Hila. I'm like, fuck, it's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, if that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
Ethan responded to the entire Content Cop live on the H3 podcast, dismantling a lot of what Ian says and even concedes to a few points made. This Content Cop really only had a negative effect on one person, and that was Ian. A greater part of the internet was seemingly on Ethan's side for this drama. Creator Clash 3 has also faced negative repercussions for this as well, with some of the fighters no longer being comfortable with being involved with the event. Harley Morenstein, one of the fighters on the main event of the evening, decided to drop out of the card. This is huge because he previously boxed in the 2 promotions before this, and he was a staunch defender of the organization. On a live stream with Nicholas Diorio, he stated that he felt like his fun charity boxing match had become a talking point for a decades-long holy war.
Like, I'm just kind of like, oh, cool, the fun little charity fundraiser has now been attached to a decades-long bloody holy war in the Middle East. It's whatever. Cool. You know, it's not really like the fun sentiment I had. So now, like, I wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to boxing. Like, I got to think about Israel and Palestine. Like, what's going on?
Another fighter that dropped out shortly after the release of Content Cop was Lena Ayad. She's literally an employee for the H3 podcast, so it's not even a surprise she's no longer comfortable with competing anymore.
It is with great regret that we announce that Lena will not be participating in Creator Clash either.
Yes. First off, I apologize to any of the fans who were going to see Lena. It's been a lot, and Lena's just sort of been thrown in the middle. She was kind of put in a really shitty situation, and boxing is a very serious thing, and you need your full concentration. And it was getting to a point that she was just caught in the middle of stuff, and I was afraid, and she was distracted at practice, and there's a lot to it. And she wasn't dropped. It was sort of it wasn't fair to her opponent, Froggy, as well, because if Lena was to post and promote, she would get shit. And if she didn't post, she's still getting shit. And it's not fair to Froggy and her experience. So, yeah, after talking out with everyone, we figured it was best if she drops.
People were also starting to notice that Creator Clash 3 had hardly sold any tickets, and over the course of a few days, the organizers had removed entire sections of unsold seating. Things were not looking good for iDubbbz and his event, and it was only going to get worse. On May 3rd, just a couple weeks after the Content Cop, he released yet another video on H3 with his signature Content Deputy title. This video is arguably even worse than the previous one. Ian doesn't bother addressing the long list of criticisms he was given for his last video. Instead, he insanely justifies the CPS call that happened to Ethan and went as far as blaming his own audience for the call.
People are quite reasonably concerned. And so, yes, anyone who's seeing that content might be concerned enough to call CPS, including Ethan's own chat, which, by the way, is not a measly number. It's about 26,000 at the time of this stream.
His proof that it may have been Ethan's audience was cherry-picked joke comments from a live stream where Ethan told the initial story that led to the disgusting lies being spread about his children. iDubbbz also claims that because Ethan is now quote-unquote attacking his charity event, that he will be stepping away from Creator Clash and handing over the responsibility to other organizers.
Now, with this recent revelation that people are just going to use Creator Clash to attack Anisa and I, Anisa and I have decided to step away from Creator Clash. We have relinquished control to our business partners who ran the previous 2 events. They're very capable. They know exactly what they're doing. They run events on a regular basis. The event is still happening. Anisa and I just don't have any financial ties. We don't have any ownership. We are, I think just going to be known as the founders of the event.
It's the same organizers partly responsible for the failure that was Creator Clash 2, so that doesn't necessarily inspire confidence in the event's success. Ian straight up refuses to take any responsibility for disrupting his own event, and his abandonment of it now is kind of like the captain of the Titanic resigning after he crashed into the iceberg. He actually has the gall to say he thinks the internet is going to blame H3 for ruining Creator Clash.
Can't wait for them to blame us for their failed event. Don't worry, Ela. I'm not going to blame you guys for anything Creator Clash related. I know you're terrified of taking accountability for anything, so that will rest solely on my shoulders. But I can't speak for the internet. The internet might actually blame you guys for it.
iDubbbz ends the video begging people to like it, which is something he insulted Leafy for in the past. He wants people to like his video in order to combat the dislike extensions people were using to try and figure out how many dislikes are on his videos. While these aren't exactly accurate, most extensions showed the Content Cop H3 had more dislikes than likes, which Ian vehemently denies. He even tries to prove that the Content Cop H3 had a positive like ratio by showing an entirely different video's like ratio.
Also, for all the people who touch grass, I want to remind you to click the like button on this video, not so it goes in your algorithm or anything, just specifically so that we can add a counter narrative, or I can get an idea of how much astroturfing is out there, because I know that a lot of these fuckers, they love their dislike button extensions. And I saw that shit and I was like, what the fuck? These are all like fabricated numbers. The like-dislike ratio was like 80-20 on my video, and then they tried to create a narrative of like, no, people actually hate this Content Cop, guys. It's actually so much worse. Like, bitch, like, people were more upset with, like, my wife being on OnlyFans. You're not gonna convince the internet that fucking Ethan Klein isn't being a piece of shit. Like, sorry, guys. It doesn't matter how many dislike extensions you have.
I don't know how he thinks that proves his point. Clearly, the dislikes on the Content Cop are bad, and probably accurate to what the extensions were saying, seeing the fact he didn't actually show it, instead opting to show a different video's ratio. Creator Clash 3 would continue to crumble following this video. Another fighter on the card, Freddie Wong, released a very long and professional statement inside the Creator Clash Discord. He expresses his unhappiness with finding out about updates about Creator Clash through drama videos and tweets. This is a direct contradiction to something Ian states in his Content Deputy video. Ian claims he spoke to all of the fighters about what was going on and everybody was on good terms, which clearly was not true.
We've already told all the fighters, and it seems like most people understand that this is the best move.
Freddie's statement also questions when Creator Clash is going to find replacement fighters, and he asks about the harassment he's been receiving since Ian released his last two videos. What are the plans to proactively address the comment miasma that, at least for me, decentivizes any social media comms, as I prefer to spend my time training and not slogging through the comment output of internet morons parroting the talking points of the streamer they have pledged allegiance to? How are we reasonably expected to promote this event? He wraps up his statement expressing his disapproval with how everything is being handled. Having run my share of organizations at various scales, I can appreciate the complexities of internal versus external comms, cadence, and tone. However, I believe I speak for all of us when I say that the current strategy of zero prior communications or heads up internally to all fighters is an unacceptable methodology moving forward. Providing dates for upcoming announcements without any information as the content of those announcements isn't enough. Our current trajectory does not instill confidence, and I look forward to hearing about what changes we plan to implement. A few days after this statement from Freddie, another fighter on the card, Ren, would express his unhappiness with iDubbbz's decisions on a live stream.
Ian and Ethan are now doing this YouTube battle against each other, going through this drama war. Creator Clash is receiving a lot of collateral damage.
See, it's so funny. Everyone's saying like, "Oh, I hate H3." How H3 actually got Creator Clash to get some negative air. They see, this is the thing. iDubbbz made a video about them.
Yeah.
He, the founder of Creator Clash, made a video about these other people who were creating drama. They, you know, so I'm saying, like, this is like this thing
and
where...
it's like, I'm not going to tell Ian what to do. It's not my place to be like, Ian, maybe you shouldn't, like, do that. Because the rest of us might kind of catch some strays from it.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, it's like... it feels like Ian and I were friends walking down a sidewalk, and he gets stung by a wasp. And he's like, oh, and he looks up and there's a wasp nest there. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a wasp nest. And he pulls out a bat and he runs up and hits that wasp nest and comes back. He's like, I showed that wasp nest. And I'm like, uh-oh. And all the wasps come flying out and they start stinging us, both of us. Mostly him because he was but I'm like I'm getting stung. I'm like, what the heck? I didn't come on this walk to get stung by wasps. Why'd you go hit the wasp nest? Yeah. And he's like, all right, the only thing to do here to protect you is to run away. And so he runs away. And now I'm like, I'm just, okay, I guess they're following him, but I'm still kind of getting stung here. not really what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of that. So
things kept getting worse for Creator Clash towards the end of May when yet another fighter on the card, Will Neff, announced on his live stream that Creator Clash is now going to be delayed.
I suppose it's out there in the ether, but Creator Clash is delayed. Creator Clash is delayed to a date far in the future. For me, this is a huge bummer, not only because I was bringing out a bunch of my family, but I was losing weight at a lightning clip.
What's really is insane is the fact that all of these fighters are now giving more updates about Creator Clash than Ian or anyone else involved running it. 2 more fighters would drop off the card following this announcement from Will. The first being LA Beast, who was the second fighter for the main event. He took to Twitter and wrote, "Due to a laundry list of reasons that will be revealed to you shortly, I unfortunately will no longer be boxing in the Creator Clash event. It is the best decision for me and my team at this time. All I wanted to do was put on a show, get paid, and ultimately raise money for charity." He also replied to a few people under his tweets stating, "Scared of multiple red flags and irreversible damage it can do to one's brand by being associated with the event. How it's gotten to this point is a real bummer. Selfishness on the part of a select few has taken away from the charity aspect and fighters who put in the sacrifice in the gym training the last few months. I sacrificed time away from my newborn son and wife to train 5 to 6 days a week." The other fighter that removed themselves from the card was Freddie Wong. While he did not make any public statements, he is no longer on the scheduled fights on the website. So now Creator Clash has 3 separate scheduled fights that are missing fighters. Their main event, which is the most important one, has no fighters anymore. It's TBA vs TBA. A shocking bombshell would be released on May 29th from the new organizers running Creator Clash in the form of a transparency Q&A. In the section titled, "Do Fighters Get Paid?" they exposed the fact that Anisa and Ian planned on taking a 34% share of the profits generated from this event. That's right, they planned on taking a majority of the revenue made for basically doing nothing. Neither of them were fighting on the card, and their only role this year was checking in on the fighters and making sure they're okay, which they clearly failed miserably at. This is an incredibly gross revelation, as both Ian and Anisa have been using what they call a charity event as a shield against criticism ever since Ian released his content cop. Remember, this is a 100% for-profit event. It is not a charity event, and the organizers would also reinforce this statement in the transparency report as well. The only money being raised for charity through Creator Clash is being done separately on an entirely different website that nobody has promoted. Not a single fighter on the card nor Ian divulged this major detail, so how are they ever going to raise money? If you go to the Tiltify link, you will see Creator Clash is claiming to have raised $238,000 for charity already. But this is incredibly disingenuous. $210,000 of that was raised by Hassan Piker while watching a video about himself made by Ethan Klein. None of that has anything to do with Creator Clash, so for them to claim they raised that money just seems gross to me, as it's simply not true. I would also like to point out that there is only a total of 3 campaigns started by different creators, one of them being iDubbbz. There was originally 20 different fighters on this card, and not a single one of them started a campaign and tried to promote it. Which begs the question, did any of them even know about the separated charity aspect at all? iDubbbz would release a vague statement on his subreddit addressing the fact he planned on taking a 34% cut of the event. To my fans/viewers, I wanted to clear some things up now that Anisa and I are no longer part of Creator Clash. When I announced CC3 and its new business model, the communication wasn't clear. Looking back on my video and the current reaction, it's obvious it was too vague. It remains true that I earned a fight purse for CC1, along with other fighters, and we did not profit at all from CC2. After CC2 failed to raise any money for charity, we knew it was time for a different business model. We restructured so that the funds for our charity partner would be raised on Tiltify separate and apart from the actual event. We then decided that this year, we would take a profit share for the for-profit side of the event, should the for-profit side of the event succeed. I feel sorry for any confusion Anisa and I caused. We know the event is in good hands now and wish it all the success. This post left people with more questions than answers, judging by the comments, with one of the most upvoted being, "What does that even mean? Raised separate and apart from the actual event. Makes it sound like none of the money from TikTok ticket sales were going to charity, which they would be correct. Ian would further address this controversy in his latest video that's all about concern trolling.
The most obvious definition for concern trolling is when someone is pretending to be concerned about a particular subject or cause, when in reality, they don't give a fuck. They're just doing it to either get attention, start a fight, derail a conversation. To be honest, it's very effective.
This is incredibly rich coming from Ian, seeing the fact that his last two videos on Ethan were some of the purest examples of concern trolling out there. He spends a majority of this video bloviating about concern trolling and trying to explain the many ways to identify it and why it's used online. Part of the video, though, is dedicated to talking about the 34% cut he planned on taking from Creator Clash 3. He downplays his actions by condescendingly telling his audience that they don't understand how charity boxing works. He also makes the insane statement that he didn't think Creator Clash 3 was going to be successful in the first place.
The main controversy, I would say, is that it was revealed with the change of ownership that Anisa and I, because we're 1/3 ownership of Creator Clash the business, that we were getting 34% of the profit share. We weren't anticipating this event doing well. Like, we wanted to do well enough to pay back the investors, of course. So that's one of the reasons that we were, okay with the profit share thing.
If you didn't think this event was going to be successful, then why the hell did you try to do it again? Especially after the catastrophic failure that was Creator Clash 2. After that statement, he tells his audience that if the event did make money, that he actually planned on donating his 34% to charity, which is just unbelievable.
Another part of it as well is that the contract wasn't structured in a way that the profit share could just directly go to charity. It was told to us, like, you could just donate your portion of the profit share to charity after the event. So we were like, okay, fine. Now, I know some people will find it hard to believe that Anisa and I were just going to give our portion of the profit share to charity. There's nothing I could really say to, I think, convince them otherwise. It was up to our discretion at the end of the day.
He had no plans on doing this or telling anyone he was taking a majority profit share, and he is only now saying this because he got caught. Another thing he claims was that the parties he threw before and after Creator Clash 2 were supposed to generate ticket sales for the event.
Now, some people will be critical of one of the costs being parties for Creator Clash 2 and actually Creator Clash 1, because that's where we got the idea from. It was very successful for Creator Clash 1, or the event was successful. We don't know if the party worked to encourage people to promote the event, but that was the idea. You get a bunch of creators to show up to a fucking hotel the night before their fight, and they're going to post about it on social media, and the internet will be abuzz. And the event was successful, so we thought that strategy of having, a little hubbub, a little hullabaloo before the event and after the event was a good idea. So we ran with that strategy again, hoping that creators will post about it and be excited about it and buzz will be generated. But it didn't happen. Or maybe it did happen, but it just didn't sell tickets.
I fail to see how private influencer parties after the event is already over is somehow going to generate more ticket sales. He also stated in his original video discussing the failure of Creator Clash 2 that the after parties were because he needed to process his trauma, not to sell tickets.
We also had events the day before the fight and the day after the fight, so that fighters and friends and family could come together and process their trauma. That was sort of paramount for me, because the first year we did the fight and then I went to bed. I got the shit kicked out of me by Dr. Mike, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up, the hotel was empty, and then I got on a flight and traveled 5 hours with my face completely swollen back to Seattle, and I was like, that was cool. That was so worth it. There was nothing. There was no processing my trauma. There was no talking to anyone and relating about the experience afterward. Everyone was gone. And that shit felt awful. So, yeah, some of these things that might seem extraneous, in my opinion, were entirely necessary, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
So what is it then? Did you need an expensive afterparty to process your trauma, or was it to generate revenue for the event that already passed? The problem with being a liar is, you have to remember all the stories you made up, which is something iDubbbz clearly struggles with. At this point, it seems he will say or do anything to try and manipulate his audience to keep their support. Recently, Ian's boxing coach, Michael Briggs, and his wife, Kate, went on the H3 podcast to divulge some pretty insane details about him. In a scathing 3-hour interview, he he revealed things like Ian's wife Anisa having a crush on one of Ian's sparring partners and being into him beating up Ian during training.
This next question is very salacious, so it's totally up to you. You can pretend like you don't even know what I'm talking about if you want. But what I've heard is that she was hitting on one of his sparring partners and was obsessed with him and gave him a VIP pass to the event.
A lot of his sparring partners got the passes, but she definitely had a big crush on one of the guys that would come in and spar with them, because anytime they would spar, she would just be super into it and watch every moment. And then even if he would like beat Ian up, she'd be very into it. And then
I want to say that I want to say that before. So Anisa never gave shout outs to Michael training Ian at all, but she put out the first video of Ian like getting rocked in sparring when Ian was sparring with her crush. Yeah.
It was our friend Gabe.
She shared it.
Yeah.
And we have a clip too. You guys can share.
I would call him Gorgeous Gabe.
Another thing that was confirmed was Anisa and Ian did in fact fly in a bunch of creators like Hassan and Froggy for Creator Clash 2, paying for their flights and hotels. They couldn't afford to fly in Ian's father though. That was too expensive.
But yeah, they flew in a lot of people. They rented out the whole hotel for 300 creators. And when we asked them if Ian's dad was going to be there, because he was there for the first event, they said they couldn't afford to fly Ian's dad in. It was too expensive.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty sad.
One of the most insane things that was revealed was the fact that Ian and Anisa knew Creator Clash 2 was $500,000 in debt weeks before the event was supposed to happen. They had the ability to cancel their expensive parties and try and scale back on the spending they did on things like flying in random creators that have nothing to do with the event. Instead, they ignorantly chose not to. I guess having their expensive gala with all of their creator friends was more important than actually donating money to charity.
I honestly believe that the reason why Ian and Anisa excluded us and did not want us to know about the gala is because we're both very professional, we're both very direct and very transparent. If they told us that they were going to throw a huge gala after the fight and it was going to cost a ton of money, we would have asked them, why are you doing this?
Yeah,
because Anisa already told us, she shared with us prior to CC2, like a month before, that they were negative, was it 500K already?
Yeah, at the time.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah, that's important.
Say that again.
They were negative 500K before the event.
Yes.
So going up to the event with the ticket sales and the PPV sales, when the event started, they knew they were down $500,000.
Yes.
Keep in mind that they moved to a bigger venue and they sold a lot of tickets. But before the event had started, they said we're fine. So the reason we found this out was because I wanted Ian to start doing 2 training sessions a day. And I said, Ian, you need to start doing 2-a-days. And he was like, why should I do 2-a-days? And I told him, I was like, Ian, you're not good at boxing, man. My brand is at stake. So you need to do 2-a-days. That's what pro boxers do. And so I told him.
Wait, did you actually say that to him?
Yeah, yes. And then I told him, I said, my brand is on the line. I said, you can go back to YouTube. My whole life is fighting and coaching fighters. And I'm like, so if you don't have a good performance, that's going to look bad on me. So for that second event, so I tell him he needs to do 2-a-days. This is like 2 weeks before the fight. I'm like, we need to do your 2-a-days. And I said, my brand is at stake. Well, he went and told Anisa that I told him my brand was at stake. So the next day she comes into the gym super mad and she's like, our brand is at stake. We're $500,000 in the hole right now.
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that at that time. I think a lot of the fighters would have liked to have known that. I don't think none of them needed to be in the dark about that, you know?
Yes, completely. Well, and that's the thing. They said you guys didn't promote enough, but they weren't honest about the fact that they were spending the money from the ticket sales on the hotel, on flying people in, on all these other things. So it was just like,
so those decisions, the gala decisions, were made while in the red.
Yes.
I have a question about that.
So she was like, we're already down 500,000. And she still had time to cancel stuff when she said that? Like, how before the event was that?
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks before the event. I mean, they knew
she could have made some last minute moves. Yeah.
They knew they were 500K in the hole long before that, right? That's just when they yelled at us about it.
Yeah.
So they could have definitely made moves to reduce spending.
She wanted that award show so bad the next day. They really wanted to have that award show so she could give out awards.
Ian also broke down and cried after a sparring session because his coach yelled at him. Anisa almost fired him because of this, and they had to have a meeting about how he speaks to Ian.
Did you say he cried?
We had to have a meeting.
So after that, he was crying at the gym afterwards, and I said, and once again, I hate to hate on him for that because it's very emotional.
Yeah, for sure.
In some hard sparring, right? Yeah. So but then what happened afterwards was horrible because then we went back to the hotel and then they were eating at Denny's and they said, we need to have a meeting. So I have to go to Denny's, and they pretty much then talked about how they were going to have to fire me because I reminded Ian of his father when his father would yell at him as a kid. And so I had to relearn how to talk to him. And at the time, I didn't even mind because I'm like, as a coach, I need to learn how to talk to different fighters anyways. Like, communication is the most important thing, one of the most important things as a coach. So I was trying to turn it into a positive, but it definitely was. But he almost got fired at Denny's.
Yeah, exactly. After that sparring session. But
I almost farted at Denny's.
Yeah, Michael and I rewatched the sparring, right, with him and Alex Ernst. And you could clearly hear that Anisa was screaming louder than Michael.
Yeah, so he was literally yelling at him worse than I was. But I was like, apparently I was the one that I yelled at him and he froze.
It triggered him and he thought of his dad. That's what she said.
So we'd have to deal with things like that all the time where it was like, he wasn't even supposed to spar that day.
Anisa yelling at Ian worse than the boxing coach and then blaming the boxing coach for triggering Ian is just so insane. Anisa also told Michael and Kate that she and Ian actually believe Sam Hyde wants to murder her.
They brought more attention to it, Kate not letting him be there, than they would have if he would have just been there. Like, so
it was the craziest thing because Anisa said to me, she's like, Kate, you don't understand. Ian and I both believe that Sam Hyde would really come and find me and would actually murder me. So that's the reason why we have to take all these precautions. And I was just like, are you sure?
I was like, I think the guy's a millionaire. I was like, I don't think he's going to risk his freedom to kill you.
Okay, so Sam is definitely an unpredictable, like, high-level troll, but I don't believe that he actually... I don't think their security was in risk. Why would he kill him?
This entire interview is filled with moments like these, and I highly recommend watching it in its entirety. Probably the most vile revelation would come out at the end of this interview. Michael's wife, Kate, is a survivor of child marriage. At just 12 years old, she was forced into an arranged marriage here in the United States. Apparently, there are still states where adults can marry children with parental permission as young as just 12 years old, which is disgusting. Michael and Kate are advocates for changing the legislation in states that this is still legal in order to prevent children from going through what Kate had to go through. Kate had to tell her story publicly and asked Ian and Anisa for their help to spread this information to help get the bill passed to end child marriage. The Jomhas chose to do the very empathetic thing and flat out ignore them.
When we were chatting a bit before the show, I brought up your working on some really interesting activism where you were This is not interesting. It's really shocking and sad that you yourself were a child bride.
Yes. So I'm a child bride survivor, and at the age of 12, I was put into a child marriage from the time I was 12 until 23. Within my child marriage, I had 2 kids when I was 15 and 17. And this happened in America, okay? And Ian and Anisa are well aware of my story because I've had them at my home. They've seen my kids and everything. And so last year, right, 2024, I learned that there was a House bill in Washington State trying to pass House Bill 1455 to end child marriage. And so when I learned of this bill, I thought to myself, even though it had been 15 years since I escaped my prison, like, this is a chance for me to come forward and tell my story. I sent, so Michael and I went to Olympia in Washington. We met with politicians. We lobbied to support the bill. I gave my public testimony to support the bill. And, I was on Seattle Times and television and everything. And I reached out to Ian and Anisa and I asked them if they could help, share the information because it was really important to me that this bill passed. And they just both left me on red. But guess what? Today, when they saw the highlights on Ian's story that we were going to be on here, Anisa was texting me and Michael, and they were like,
they ignored us when we were like trying to fight child marriage. But then when they found out,
Are they pro-child marriage?
Yeah,
take a hard stance. That's why it makes one. Begs the question.
For people that claim to be morally good and empathetic, you would think helping end child marriage would be a no-brainer, but not for these two. The Jomhas wouldn't immediately respond to this thrashing they received from their coaches. Instead, they would go on a small road trip while pretending they were totally unfazed by the massive reputational hit they took from their dumb choices. And shortly after this, on July 7th, 2025, the new owners of Creator Clash 3 would announce that the event was no longer going to be taking place, canceling it entirely. We've made the difficult decision to cancel Creator Clash. All existing pay-per-view ticket holders will receive automatic refunds, no action is required. While the event won't go ahead as planned, all funds raised so far will still be donated to charity, and our fundraising efforts will continue in the months ahead. Thank you to all of the fighters for their hard work and dedication, and to everyone who supported us over the years. We appreciate you. Thank you, the Creator Clash team. Ian wouldn't immediately comment on Creator Clash 3's failure, but Anisa sure would. She would go on Twitter where she would write a series of tweets in response to a now deleted tweet that was talking about the event's cancellation. Okay, I'm just gonna come out and clear something up. Ian won't be happy I'm doing this, but I think we need more transparency. Ticket sales were abysmal before the content cop. Promotion wasn't going how we hoped. Charity wasn't getting the numbers we wanted. We were promised a lot of things. A lot of things didn't happen. I take responsibility for trying to do it again. We shouldn't have, but I think we made the best of the situation. The charity got $225,000, and a lot of that is due to the buzz around Hassan supporting the charity. Charity got money, the fighters got paid. Things didn't work out. The content cop wasn't some sudden turning point. The interest in Creator Clash 3 was low. Claiming that the content cop video wasn't a turning point for Creator Clash 3's failure is incredibly disingenuous. It absolutely was detrimental to the event's success and was ultimately what killed the entire organization. Ian would remain radio silent after Creator Clash 3's cancellation and wouldn't post another video on YouTube until August 4th, 2025. This new video was titled, "Are You Afraid of Immigrants?" And it's another piece of media iDubbbz has created to try and further cement himself as a breadtuber. It's a boring video where he spends 19 minutes ignorantly criticizing a few TikTokers who travel the world and gave commentary about immigrants in Europe.
Today's episode of iDubbbz Complains is all about immigration and xenophobia and racism and TikTok and the TikTokification of xenophobia.
This, of course, wasn't received well by his audience. Funny listening to someone who isn't from Europe telling everyone what Europe is like. This is the top comment on the video, which has over 20,000 likes. The second most liked comment on this video isn't even related to the topic at hand. It simply reads, "Pay your coaches the money you owe them." At this point in the timeline, iDubbbz still hasn't addressed any of the things his former boxing coach said about him on the H3 podcast. And he would continue to remain quiet on this matter until September 9th, 2025, when he released another new video titled Coming Clean. That's right, after 3 months, Ian finally thought it was safe to respond to what his coach said about him on the H3 podcast. This cowardly behavior is to be expected though. Ian did this same exact thing following the Froggy Fresh drama. He somehow thinks it's a great idea to wait until after a controversy has blown over to respond to it, which only reignites the drama. iDubbbz would start the Coming Clean video by explaining the dichotomy of his relationship with Anisa and molding about the people who criticize himself and her.
One of the more important things that I want to talk about is my relationship with Anisa. I love Anisa. I love everything about her. I've only grown to love her more with time, and a lot of people online don't see it that way. For me, it's very obvious. I thought more people would be able to catch on. I am quiet, stoic, not talkative. She is the opposite of that. She is loud, very talkative, social. People struggle to understand that dynamic, I think, especially me being a person who has made a career of talking online.
Ian calling himself stoic is downright insane because he's provably the exact opposite of this word. Just a few months prior, he was literally crying about the hate his wife receives online.
It's really hard.
After calling himself stoic, Ian would embarrassingly try to address a group called the Kino Casino. The Kino Casino is a live stream show hosted by PPP and Andy Worski, two popular trolls who spend their time insulting infamous online figures like Ethan Ralph, The Quartering, and yes, Ian and Anisa. They're known for being loud and saying outlandish things about their topics of discussion. It's part of what makes their show so entertaining.
What we're describing here is two grown men who are fantasizing about a stranger and his wife and what they do in the bedroom or don't do in the bedroom. That is creepy weirdo shit.
And here we have iDubbbz with the bull, folks. There's iDubbbz with the bull.
He's using sexualized terms to describe a picture of me and my dog. And what are we doing?
Ian addressing these guys breaks a cardinal rule of online creator etiquette: don't feed your trolls. And what makes his choice to do this even more bizarre is the fact that he knows addressing your trolls is a bad idea, yet he decides to do it anyway. He literally starts this video off by stating he's going to feed his trolls when he knows better not to.
Today, I'm going to be doing the thing that everyone tells you not to do, and that is feed the trolls.
And do you guys know why you're not supposed to feed your trolls? Because it's exactly what they want. This was the Kino Casino's reaction to finding out iDubbbz made a video talking about them.
We're getting the mansion, Worski! We're gonna have BMWs and jet skis!
They even went out and had a fancy steak dinner to celebrate. You know what they say: the house always wins. After playing a highlight reel of the casino boys insulting Anisa and crying foul, Ian would move on to talking about his boxing coach Michael and his wife Kate. He starts by claiming they were paid $5,000 by Ethan to go on the H3 podcast and badmouth him.
For some reason, this stupid fucking loser and his dumb as rocks wife decided to go on the H3 podcast. They already spilled their guts. They were getting paid like $5,000 to go on this podcast.
I'm going to be sending you guys $5,000 for the bonus that you never got.
I think they were maybe afraid that they wouldn't get the money if they didn't thoroughly trash us.
This is simply not true. Michael and Kate went on the podcast and aired out their grievances with Ian and Anisa completely on their own accord, and they did it for free. The $5,000 Ethan announced he was giving them came towards the end of their interview after the coach talked about how he felt like Ian stiffed him out of a bonus. Ethan explicitly states the money is for the bonus they never received, and it's in the clip Ian provided.
I'm going to be sending you guys $5,000
for the bonus that you never got.
Ian then has a meltdown over the bonus accusation and spitefully calls his coach and his wife fucking losers who he doesn't want to talk to because he's busy doing more important things like filming a show with Dax Flame.
You weren't promised a bonus. I was doing my own shit. Why the fuck would I want to spend my time with you when I'm filming a show with Dax Flame? You guys are fucking losers.
This video would be used as a launching pad for his Twitch streaming career. He would end it by stating he will be live streaming all month reacting to the coach's interview and things alike to quote unquote stir the pot.
All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this episode of iDubbbz Complains. If you want to hear me complaining live in your ears, particularly today, if you're watching this video the day it comes out, go and check out my Twitch live stream. I'll put a link in the description. I am going to be reacting to the H3 podcast where my rat coach and his rat wife are being nasty rats together. So go give it a watch, give it a listen, and I'll, probably for the rest of this month, I will be reacting to shit and, I don't know, fucking stirring the pot.
Ian would then spend the next couple of weeks trying to own H3 and his boxing coach Michael Briggs by reacting to their interview on stream. And these reactions really didn't do much to sway the court of public opinion on him. These reactions pretty much consisted of Ian getting angry at the coach for exposing him and resorting to calling Michael mean names like a child. This first stream on Twitch, after promoting it with the Coming Clean video, surprisingly had over 1,000 concurrent viewers. However, as the month went on, that number dwindled down to a few few hundred. It's safe to say the majority of his audience weren't even listening to these live-streamed responses. It would have been so much smarter for Ian to script a well-thought-out response debunking his coach and Ethan with receipts and posted it on his main channel. But I guess he's done with making smart decisions. iDubbbz would eventually pivot from reacting to drama on stream to struggling to play games like Wordle and reacting to politics, all to a massive audience of a couple hundred people. And I'm not going to torture you with a breakdown of all of his political live streams, that just sounds awful. Just know they're incredibly boring and not worth the watch, unless you're into lukewarm and recycled leftist takes on politics from a guy who claims he wants to be the white Hassan Piker.
I don't know if I want to be streaming when fucking Hassan's streaming. But I also might want to stream while Hassan's streaming because he deserves like a little competition. I think that's maybe a good idea. Especially if people see me as like the white Hassan.
iDubbbz would also eventually start VTubing, and no, that's not a joke. In order to more freely engage with drama content, Ian created the VTuber persona named the Scorched Legume.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to my home.
Equipped with this cheap 3D model of a dragon, Ian began scrolling through the H3 Snark subreddit as content for his live streams.
There's a website here. I just stumbled upon it last night while I was doing my dragon work. It's called, well, I think it's colloquially known as the Snark Headquarters. I know nothing of that. Me personally, I'm just a dragon who browses the web. But I do love Reddit.
Apart from this bit being painfully unfunny, I want to point out the most egregious thing Ian did as Scorched Legume. While streaming on February 17th, 2026, Ian would knowingly promote an unhinged and baseless allegation from Destiny claiming Ethan molested his own children.
Okay, actually, while I address this, I will have this just available on screen, just so that people aren't confused. Although I think it needs to be, where is it? Properties. This is a strange thing. This is really fucked up and weird for Destiny to say. I don't know how to make it transparent. Are Tuesdays Targaryen Tuesdays? Yeah, Targaryen Dragon Tuesday. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is my watermark for the stream. I don't want any of my content being stolen.
Scrolling through a Snark subreddit is one thing. I mean, who really cares about that at all in the grand scheme of things? But promoting such heinous claims about Ethan and his kids is absolutely going too far. And what makes this situation even more fucked up, Ian would make this comment from Destiny the watermark for his entire stream that day. The Scorched Legume character would eventually stop making appearances on iDubbbz's streams, assumingly because the bit ran dry in Ian's eyes. After this, he would continue streaming politics, video games, and watching 90 Day Fiancé with Anisa with little to no success. He streamed close to 100 hours a month both March and April 2026, with his average viewership dropping to just 130 people. Some days he would struggle to pull even 100 people into these streams. And towards the end of April, on the 24th, Ian would attempt to stream on his YouTube channel that still has over 6.8 million subscribers. This would end up being a tremendous failure as he struggled to pull in over 300 viewers, which quickly dropped into the hundreds like an average Twitch stream. After this stream ended, he would make the VOD members only before unlisting it altogether. April was also the month when iDubbbz finally posted a video onto his channel after taking a 6-month hiatus to pursue a career as a Twitch streamer. This video was about some junky AI toy that prints out pictures based off certain prompts you give it. Not the most exciting video concept, but I guess it's better than the last few political videos he put out.
Clavicular was mid-jester maxing when a group of foids spiked his cortisol levels. I mean, using the term foids is pretty big for this. This is an improvement. Okay. Well, there you go. You have a jester doing his jester thing and a bunch of foids surrounding him in the town square.
This AI toy video would only generate 136,000 views, which is good, but for a channel with close to 7 million subscribers, it's not really good at all. And for iDubbbz video standards, it's terrible. He would also post a new squirrel video on his second channel, which would perform even worse, only gaining around 36,000 views. This video would also remind his subscribers that the second channel existed, and over 10,000 people would unsubscribe on the same day this was posted. Everything is literally going downhill for iDubbbz. On May 9th, Ian would do something commendable for the first time in months, and that's apologize to Ethan for platforming the Destiny comment claiming Ethan molested his children.
But, yeah, I kind of like, with having the Scorched Legume on, I've been indulging the dark side a little too much, at least for me. Right? Like, I have my own principles, my own values, and I'm like, it allowed me to roll around in the pig shit a little bit more. And there's aspects of that I like, but it's not really like, it doesn't super align with my principles. I think one of the things that sort of like woke me up a little bit is like, okay, wait a minute, I need to take a step back. It's the Destiny thing about Ethan and his kids. That was one of those where I was like, oh man, like I think I stepped too far out with this one, where it's like we know the reason that I showed you guys the comment about Ethan and his kids. It's because it's like Destiny's he's a piece of shit, and he has bad intentions. But he's going easy on this guy. Not going easy on Denims, Frogan, Casey Tron, Noah, many others, right? Has the eyes for lawsuits when it comes to all of them. And that was my reason for showing it. But I was like, after reflecting a little bit more, I'm like, ugh, like I do not want to roll around this pig shit, and I also don't want to. It's not within my principles to put that online, like I don't want to spread that because it's just negative and it's not true. I don't believe it. And yeah, it didn't feel right. So that's why I'm like, trying to take a step back from the Scorched Legume stuff and not really, not roll around in the pig shit. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Ethan and Ethan's family for putting that nasty Destiny comment out there. I felt like it was an okay thing to do based on the point I was making, but gross shit shouldn't be spread like that. Trust your guts. Well, thank you, Noodle. It's hard, man. It's hard because they fucking, they chat shit all the time, and it's like, oh, how do I engage? Well, I have to be nasty back.
I think we can all agree that this is a good thing to do. I mean, he should have never promoted the comment in the first place, but at least he was apologizing for doing so. There's a twist to this part of the story, though. A few days later, this unprompted apology would actually be revealed to not be so genuine. Ethan Klein would fire up the H3 podcast and let everyone know the only real reason Ian was apologizing was because Ethan got in contact with Canadian lawyers to pursue a defamation case against him.
So let me tell you a little story. The second iDubbbz stopped talking about us happened to coincide when I took into my service some fine Canadian lawyers. That's right. Lawyers that specialize in defamation. And by the way, I really don't think that's okay thing to put out. Some fine Canadian defamation lawyers that sent a letter to Anisa and Ian demanding a retraction and a halting of the defamatory statements that I molest my children. And the day after that, the Scorched Lagoon was slain like smog, one there was only one skill shown, and it was the threat of a lawsuit. That's right. It's not because they're principled. It's not because he's above it. In fact, they're hurting bad. Look at him. His shit is fucking falling off so hard. It's crazy how hard it's fallen off. It was literally the day he stopped talking about it, right? He doesn't talk about the snark anymore. He doesn't talk about me anymore. And they're, by the way, desperately, this is the ultimate irony, and I love this. America, love America. If he lived in California, I wouldn't even bother threatening to sue him because in our great state, we have anti-slap laws that make it extraordinarily difficult to sue public figures for defamation, and we have this extreme appreciation for free speech in the First Amendment. Now, let me tell you something. Ian, he hates America. He wants to get as far away as possible. He thinks this place sucks. So he moved to the northern wall and pledged to the Night Watch. But let me tell you something about Canada, the North. Defamation laws ain't quite the same up there. And when I spoke to an attorney about it and showed it to him, they're like, yeah, no, this is quite bad. This is definitely actionable here in Canada.
Now, I don't think Ethan's pursuit to file litigious lawsuits against all of his enemies is the greatest thing in the world, but Ian knows very well that Ethan is in the process of suing a ton of different people, some for justifiable reasons, and others for more petty reasons. So Ian probably shouldn't have taken his online attacks against Ethan as far as he did. He and Anisa are also on record stating they don't feel like Ethan can sue them because they share the same lawyer.
Also been sued by that Zionist piece of shit? I have not, thankfully, but I have a feeling that is because I'm a man. Most likely. So, needless to say, our employees are going to be eating
Actually,
well.
because we use the same lawyer, so he can't use that lawyer against us.
Ian absolutely made his bet on this one, and now he's got a lie in it. How's that age-old saying go? Fuck around and find out? Ian definitely fucked around and found out. I will admit, he did have a funny retort to Ethan once it was revealed he only apologized because of the threat of a lawsuit. On May 14th, the day following the H3 podcast, Ian would propose that instead of getting sued, he and Ethan could do trial by combat instead. He claimed Ethan can have someone box for him, even allowing an MMA expert if he so chooses. He also proposed an intellectual battle via debate, and if Ethan was interested, he could even debate Anisa on anything if he wanted to.
I don't know what any of the details are, but I think in summary, it looks like he's interested, Ethan, in pursuing a lawsuit here in Canada. I ultimately am just like not interested in playing that game, like not because I can't afford it, but because it is I just think it's a waste of time for me. It's a waste of time. Like, I don't want to know a lawyer, if I'm gonna be honest. You know, I don't want to have weekly or monthly conversations with a lawyer. It's just not. I think a lot of people can relate to that. But I am a creative person, so I do want to propose some potentially amiable, is that the right word? Whatever it means, the word that means to please others. An amiable solution. Potential amicable. No, it wasn't amicable. That's not the word I'm looking for. You guys are gaslighting me. 1 second. Define amiable. I wasn't completely wrong, but I know I know you're trying to help me. Malleable? I'm trying to come up with a malleable solution. Basically, I know that there is, I'll just come right out and say it, okay? A couple other suggestions that the non-creative thinkers in the world might have not considered, okay? Number one, trial by combat. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Well, number one, I'm being deathly serious when I say that. Deathly serious. If Ethan wants to find a party that will fight in his steed. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to use words I didn't run through a script or anything. If he has someone who's gonna fight in his steed, that's fine. He can nominate a champion. Okay, I am about 8 pounds away from reaching 200 pounds of raw gristle. Okay, so it could literally be anyone. I mean anyone. Okay, it could be. Let's go down the list. It could be one of his disgusting employees. It could be him. Let's just rule that out. It could be, so many deplorable people on the internet. Yeah, it could be a lot. And I will also say, like, if the option is there, I can lose 50 pounds in 3 months. It's possible, okay? I could lose 60 or 70 pounds in 3 months. So whoever money talks, right? I'm sure he can get a boxing or an MMA expert to fight in his stead. So that's option one. That is option one. And I must say though, I'm a little poor guy. I don't have very much money. So he has to fund the operation, you know. It could just be in a backyard or whatever. It doesn't need to be like, you know, big arena or anything like that. Additionally, there is another option, which is trial by wits. Hat tip. Trial by wits. So, no, we're not doing a dance battle. That's cringe. I don't think... also, that is just an immediate victory on my behalf, okay? Trial by wits. Basically, listen, I know over at the H3 podcast, there is... I don't know, the main guy fancies himself a debate lord or something, or he thinks that he could sway public perception by going on Piers Morgan. I'm going to really show people that I got what it takes in a battle of wits. Hey, I will participate in whatever. We could debate any topic, whatever it is. I'll pick the losing side as well. I'll pick the deplorable losing side. Or, better yet, since a lot of people have heat for my lovely and talented wife, Anisa, she can debate something. I'll just fucking sit in the chair in the corner, okay? We could set the whole thing up while there's like an intellectual battle. I think intellectual battle and combat battle.
I think offering to get beat up or sacrificing Anisa to some insane debate to avoid getting sued is hilarious. And it's probably the first funny thing he's done in a long time. And I'd personally much rather see either of these two options over a lawsuit if I'm being honest. But I don't think that's gonna happen though. Ethan would see Ian's ultimatum and respond to it on his podcast on May 15th. Ethan would make it very clear that he is not interested in giving Ian any more attention than he has to. A boxing match or debate would ultimately benefit Ian more than Ethan, regardless if he wins or loses.
Why would I do this?
Why would you put a fight for him? Like,
why would I
give him? What kind of a delusion is that?
Why would I give him any attention like that?
And why does he think anybody wants to see him fight? We already saw that. That was
0-2, bro.
Like,
it's the last thing we need is more brain damage for this sad young man.
Yeah.
He's already grasping at any last straw of sanity.
So yeah, I mean, I think those are options that would satisfy some amount of, I don't know, attention.
For who?
Yeah.
Trial by therapy?
I gain nothing from talking about you. You gain a ton.
Those sounds like attention for you. I can see that.
I'm indulging in this one last time. The last time I talked about him, his members went up 100. So, I mean, congratulations, you know. I'm happy for you. The Denny's is popping. Grand slams for everybody. But I'm indulging one last time, buddy, because listen, I gain nothing. You gain everything.
Ethan also makes it very clear that once CPS was falsely called on his children, that he was done trying to fight everyone with his words, and that this is all happening because of what was said about his kids.
I'm being extremely serious when I say those things. It's not, because I do realize a lot of this is, unfortunately, I don't think it should be content. I don't think these things should be broadcasted on the internet, especially if you're serious about it. What?
I mean, this is about my children. People forget. But when this whole thing started, when CPS came to my house, came on the show the same day, and I told everybody, the rules of engagement have changed. The line is moved, the barriers are gone. And that was a year ago. It's taken me time, right, for all my plans to culminate and stuff. But I meant that. These people went after my children. And maybe you didn't make the call, Ian, but you fucking love the people that did. You hang out in a community with the CPS skull.
Well, he had no problem saying, like, maybe it was needed. I don't know. Your fans seemed worried when nobody was worried, and he shows comments, caca house.
Doo-doo house.
Clearly, they're joking.
Yeah, Klein poo-poo house. So, this is and has always been about my children. You forgot because it's been so long, right? You think it's like a silly game for content or something. It's not for me. I haven't forgotten. You think I forgot the CPS came to my house and interviewed my children? I have not forgotten. But I have remembered everybody who participated in that. And just like I promised, right? Just like I promised then. I'm literally just following through in my promises that I made back then. That's all I'm doing.
I think the whole thing is extremely silly. So I would be fine with...
And also, listen, if you didn't want to get sued or deal with this, don't fucking put a statement on your screen that says I molest my children. I mean, that's not rocket science, is it? It's pretty basic fucking decency.
With it not, with just, what do you call that? What do they call it? I don't think there's an official name for it. Financial torture. I think it's an attempt of doing a financial torture, in my opinion.
It's called accountability, okay? When people push you and repeatedly push you and do things and you respond, you try to use your words to respond, it makes it worse. They take it out of context, they push, they make it worse. They send CPS, they send skulls. That's it. They make these silly fucking snark groups. It's called accountability. I mean, defamation laws exist. They exist for a reason. Right? Because there are certain things that you can and should not say. Just cross a line of decency. It's not financial torture, man. This is the only way left to get accountability for some of these things. Why should denims be allowed to just steal my content wantonly? This is accountability. This is not financial torture. This is the system. I'm using the system in the only way that I can. I'm sorry that the system is fucked up and that you don't like the results, the ramifications for your actions. But this is not torture. This is consequences of your guys' direct action. I didn't have to be suing any of you guys. And frankly, I would love to not be in any lawsuits. Right? So listen, I'm not going to say if I'm suing him or not. I'm going to deal with all this stuff behind the scenes. And I'm out. I'm done talking about them. I wish them all the best. I mean, in a sense. In like the proverbial sense. Right? Listen, sometimes the best path forward includes steps backwards. And me wishing them the best is maybe them doing the right thing behind the scenes.
So I guess as of right now, it's up in the air whether or not Ian will be getting sued. Things are looking real bleak for Mr. Jomha here. iDubbbz used to be one of the largest and most influential YouTubers on the platform. Over the years, however, he has become a spineless shell of himself that is almost unrecognizable. He hardly posts videos at all anymore, as he is more caught up in streaming nonsense to an isolated crowd of 100 people. And a lot of people like to put all of the blame on his wife Anisa's shoulders for the downfall of Ian's career, and while she does play a critical role in all of this, I think it's important to acknowledge that Ian ultimately chooses to live this kind of life he's living now. His constant series of bad decisions throughout the last handful of years has made him go from one of the most loved YouTubers on the platform to one of the most hated. By this point, iDubbbz has lost over 1 million subscribers, and that number only continues to fall, much like his stream numbers. Truthfully, I have no idea what he can do going forward to even try and revitalize his channel. Ian may have an idea though. On May 18th, 2026, he would post a new video to his main channel that was a blast from the past. Kickstarter crap. For the first time in close to a decade, Ian would bring back a beloved series for his channel. This Kickstarter crap video would focus on 2 products designed for men. The first product Ian reviews is called Man Sheets, which are just dryer sheets that smell like cologne. And if I'm being honest, this section of the video is pretty boring, as Ian doesn't even know what dryer sheets are and thinks they're a form of laundry detergent.
Now, the concept of detergent sheets are still a little bit new to me. I'm stuck in the world of pods and just like powdered detergent or liquid detergent. I haven't moved on to the new meta, which is apparently sheets.
The second product Ian reviews is called Cheek Sheets. This product is toilet paper that you stick between your ass to stop sweating. Admittedly, this section of the video is much funnier, with Ian's reactions to the product getting a few good laughs out of me.
Fold to your desired size, tuck between your butt cheeks, sweat with confidence, dispose/flush when done. Oh my god, dude. We don't need more flushable wipes. Whose ass is sweating this crazily? You need different working conditions if it's causing, or you need to take a pill if it's causing just your ass cheeks to sweat. I don't want my surgeon wearing cheek sheets. If they gave me that information before my double bypass, I would go to a different doctor. What happens when it comes out, when it falls out? What happens when you see that, like around your workstation? You're like, oh my god, my ass cheek tissue.
iDubbbz would end this video by telling his viewers to be on the lookout because he was going to be making more Kickstarter crap videos. Now, I don't know if Kickstarter crap will be enough to bring back iDubbbz's channel and revitalize his career, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. I guess only time will tell if Ian can keep his foot out of his mouth and produce more content like this that his audience was finally happy with. This has been the full documentary on how iDubbbz destroyed his career.